Wow, that intro, that was awful. Hold on, let's redo that. There we go. Thanks, PC. It's dying in the heat. That's what it is. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another video, the start of a new series. Now, I think quite a few people are excited about the prospect of this series. I do want to temper your expectations a little bit. I don't really know how long or what the scope of this is going to be. This is my project for Guild Wars Reforged. If you've been living under a rock, if you're totally out of the loop, Reforged is a new initiative, a 2026 initiative from modern Arenanet plus the studio 2 weeks that they've contracted to work on Guild Wars 1, add actual real new quests, new heroes, new dungeons, new balance, new stuff to Guild Wars 1. So I want to do a playthrough on it. I want to cover it. I've been wanting to do it for months. If you're out of the loop, I guess I'll mention as well, I had a very bad house fire and have been living in all kinds of temporary accommodation. I'm still in temporary accommodation at the moment, actually, which, by the way, means I don't have a controller with me. They have like an official controller scheme for the game now, so I can't really test that. I'll endeavor to pick it up from the burned property at some point. But yeah, this is going to be my playthrough. I'm going to run through. We're going to see what we do. Now, for the most part, it seems like the new content that Arenanet have added right now is kind of in two hemispheres. One hemisphere is the new challenge modes. That's Doom's Covenant and Melandru's Accord, which is basically Iron Man and permadeath. And then the other side is like the new stuff to play, which largely seems to be pre-searing related, funnily enough. So I've been in a weird position with this where I've always said I wanted to go back. The one thing I missed from my original Let's Play for Guild Wars 1 was a good look at pre-searing. Pre-searing has a lot to give, and my original series didn't get all the way into it. You know, it didn't get Eldoa, certainly, but it didn't even show all the quests there. And I've always said, oh, when I go back to pre, that'll be it. That'll be the last thing I bookend with Guild Wars content. But we have a good reason to go back to pre now, and that's because a lot of the Reforged stuff they've been doing has been localized in pre. It's, as far as I understand, it's not that the devs only want to add pre-searing content. It's that it's a really good testing ground. It's a safe area because it's insulated from the full economy and the full effect of the entire game. Everything's kind of like, you know, siloed off there, which makes it a really great place to put some stuff in. And if they mess up, and they have messed up some things in the updates, as we've seen already, they can tweak and refine and they can pull things out. So yeah, it's very exciting. The last you guys really heard me talking about this was when it was revealed at the end of last year. We're in May now. It came out around Christmas, and that title, Guild Wars Reforged, it really set people off. They thought it was a full-blown remaster. They thought, you know, it was going to be on Unreal Engine, it was going to be this, that, and the other thing. It's not really. It's regular Guild Wars 1, as far as I'm concerned, that has been ported to some new platforms. Mobile is the next big initiative, and in fact, yesterday, They technically have said that Guild Wars Reforged has been in an alpha up until now. I think a very recent patch note said it's gone to beta. And as of yesterday, they've started rolling it out on mobile. So I believe a bunch of people have logged in, actually, right now. If we go to pre, we'll see a shit ton of people there who are playing on mobile. And apparently it runs really well on mobile. Even phones like back in 2019 or so. Anyway, we will get to that. We're going to read. So because I've had the house fire and I've had other things going on, I have genuinely 5 months of Guild Wars Reforged updates that I haven't talked to you about. The last I was really talking about this was when I was cynically trying to, you know, I was trying to make sure people didn't get overhyped and disappointed about what this project is, what Reforged actually is. It's not a full-blown remaster, let's not kid ourselves. And then you haven't really heard anything from me. So I got a lot to recap. And what that means, guys, is the first hour of this playthrough is going to be unbelievably slow, boring, tedious, and skippable for a huge number of you, all right? So I suggest you just skip forward. Unless you have to watch it live. So hello to the people in the live chat that will be watching this in real time. Basically, I'm going to go over the patch notes. Just because I want to cover everything, and I want you guys, I want the completionists out there, I want you all to know, like, what's happened as we've gone along. The things that WP should have talked about that he didn't talk about yet. So that's what we're going to do. I will also show you the trailer right here, right now. Here's the Reforged trailer that they announced around Christmas. Stivona, remember how it all started. I'll do the trailer voice for you. Look, remastered original trailer like I did a few years ago, but they did it properly there. Experience it like never before. And then we get a ton of stuff. Steam Deck verified. New low price. Support for consoles. Enhanced audio and UI. No monthly sub, as always. I love that they keep that as the big thing. And then we get this sweet animation of Sahothin. Guild Wars Reforged there. I think they actually appeared on the login screen and people said it was actually a bit ugly. But yeah, so it's a nice little trailer. It's funny because I think most people probably never actually watched that CGI cutscene, but there you have it. And no, I am not playing this on a Steam Deck. So there you go, we'll watch it through twice. There you have it, guys. There you have it. Now, the other question is, do I have Liss on screen or off screen for this whole playthrough? What do we think? On or off? On or off? Because Liss hasn't been born yet. Liss is 250 years into the future. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, so a quick little recap for you guys before I get to my incredible slideshow that I've made for you all. We're going to get very PowerPoint presentation-y. You know, Guild Wars 1 had its heyday. They did something called Guild Wars Beyond. It was made by a group called the Guild Wars Live team, where they were bridging the gap between Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. When Guild Wars 2 came out, the Live team could have continued, but unfortunately they didn't. And we stopped seeing updates for Guild Wars 1. I stopped doing videos about Guild Wars 1. I would say there was probably an 8-year period from maybe 2000 and, well, maybe not 8 years. I reckon from 2013 till like 2019. So a 7-year period. Maybe 2020. I didn't really touch this game. I only logged in on this game. Like all my Let's Plays and stuff were finished. It was all Guild Wars 2 all the time. From the studio's perspective, from content creators' perspectives, from most people in the community's perspective, I would honestly say. We all kind of just migrated. And yeah, there were some diehards that stayed. And yeah, there were always people who remained. And yeah, there were people who went back for Hall of Monuments rewards, which was an absolutely fantastic initiative from Arenanet that kept this game evergreen, so to speak. But a lot of us moved on. I only really came back when I was shooting videos, you know, getting snippets for lore videos. What I used to do is I'd come in, I'd shoot some footage for whatever I needed as example footage for whatever essay or story I was telling. And if I saw someone online or someone whispered me, I had a giveaway going for years where if you ever caught me online, the game was that little trafficked. If you saw me online, if you saw WoodenPotatoes online, if you had my account, I would just straight up give you like 100 ectos, 50 ectos. And it was like that for genuinely maybe 7-8 years. No one was really playing it. In the more recent age, let's say, the past 5 years or so, I have actually, without any real reason... Okay, so then there were also a couple of anniversary patches. There was like the 5th, the 10th, the 15th, and they were always big. There were some graphics updates, and I covered those, and people were always really keen on those. They added a couple of new elite skills one year. They had the anniversary weapons. So we came back for those as well. But outside of that, I didn't really play until maybe the past 3-4 years, where weirdly enough, even though Arenanet weren't really doing anything about the game, I just kind of came back. I don't know why. I just found it fun, and I basically had unfinished business. So I'm going to log on to my main, okay, my Mesmer, who I never really did any Let's Plays of. But my goal was, you know, I had God Walking Amongst Me Immortals and all that back before the Hall of Monuments calculator came out. I didn't really have anything to go for, but I got re-enamored with this game, seriously, over the past 3-4 years. And my goal was to get what I call Supergram, which is to get everything. Every account-bound title that you possibly can. So I have like... so Guam is like 25 titles, and I think I have like 30? How many do I have? Where is it listed? God Walking Amongst Me Immortals. Where are you? Here. I have 36. So 35 is Supergram, and then like 40 would be like Megagram. I don't know. There are some titles I don't have, obviously. That's the PvP ones. Gamer. Where are they? Here. Zaishin was actually... So during this entire period, right, bots were running all over this game. It was kind of on life support. People were using a lot of add-ons, and the devs were looking the other way. The add-on tools got very sophisticated, even though Arenanet hadn't really consented or endorsed them. But the whole community, really, that stayed were using those add-ons. There was a weird culture with bots as well. Botting is not allowed. It's against the TOS. But there were so few active players left, and all they wanted to do was speedrun, and they wanted to use concepts. People kind of just turned a willing blind eye to bots that would farm concepts so that the economy could keep going on any level. Bots that would farm random arenas so that Z keys would get flushed into the economy so that people could finish the Zaician track. Z keys were really, really cheap for a long time. And that was kind of the place that Guild Wars 1 was in. As it so happens, last year, I came back and I finished my Supergram thing. And I've kind of been on a rhythm where maybe every year for the past 4, I've fallen in love with this. I've got really fixated on it. I've played it. I haven't really made videos. If you're in my Discord, there's a link in the description. You can join. We've got a Guild Wars 1 channel there. And, you know, we have a Guild Wars 1 guild as well. As I go through this series, guys, you can join the guild. You can play with us. You know, I'd type in those channels and I'd interact with the guild, but I didn't really do any videos. This was just for me. Like, literally, you rewind the clock maybe 13 months. I was in there. What was I doing? I can't remember what I was watching. Fuck, what was I watching? I was doing something like a full rewatch of South Park or Friends or something, I don't know, while grinding titles, like my Savior of the Kurziks, which was one of the last things I had to get. I was doing like Moristav Trail speed clear over and over and over. There we go. We have someone with a destroyer tonic there. That's pretty cool. Just to finish this, that was about 13 months ago. That was around the 20th anniversary, which wasn't too exciting. I was hoping that they were going to do more elite skills, and they didn't. And I was a little bit disappointed, honestly, last year with the 20th anniversary. I did my thing, I played, I finished. I really thought, genuinely, last year that was it. I was going to put Guild Wars 2 down forever. Guild Wars 1 down forever. What else did I have to come back to this game for? And I kind of got out of the headspace for the game. I just wasn't really thinking about it at all. And lo and behold, this Christmas, Arenanet revealed that they were so happy with the 20th anniversary, they were going to put new effort into it. And so we're kind of in a new era now. So here's what I want to do, guys. We are going to go... First of all, let's go back to character select. Oh, this is a new little menu here. Now, I just want you all to know, I'm totally blind with Reforged stuff. Just so that you know, you're not even locked to the Eye of the North character select screen anymore. There is a drop down under general settings for the pre-game scene. And just like with Guild Wars 2, you can actually set now. This is the Nightfall one. I haven't seen this for years. Genuinely, I haven't logged in and toggled this on once since they've been putting the updates in. I remember when Nightfall came out buying this. I remember seeing that boat back there. My PC did not render the water very well back then. Oh my god. Holy shit, this is pretty cool. And I think it changes the music and everything. By the way, can we all hear we can all hear the game okay, right? Maybe we turn the music up, the background audio down a bit, effects down. Oh, well, this isn't Nightfall music, is it? Obviously. Well, yeah. Oh, my God. That's pretty cool. Oh, my God. You got the... you see this fish swimming in the water? This was always so exciting to me in terms of Guild Wars 2, the fact we were going to be able to swim underwater and actually interact with stuff like that. But somehow, as soon as you can touch it, the magic goes away, doesn't it? That's just how it is. You got the Nightfall one. You got the Factions one. Likewise, I haven't seen this for a very long time. This water especially, I remember, my old graphics card couldn't really render it, so it just rendered it as like a flat plane of a solid color. This was top-of-the-line stuff, guys. And then Prophecies. See, this is different. This is not how I remember the Prophecies one looking. The OG Prophecies scene, why do I remember it as your characters were all on display at once, sitting around the campfire? They were sitting on that rock. Am I wrong about that? You actually can't scroll the screen on this one. And you can see on the left here, there's actually no floor back there. Oh, we hear the Factions one now for the Prophecies background. But already, this is new stuff that I haven't actually played with. So, yes, we will be getting in, but like I say, we're gonna talk now a lot. Here is everything that has just happened with Guild Wars 1 over the past actually longer than the past 5 months. I'm going to give it to you in an image slideshow. So here are some promotional shots. Oh my god, the fucking Factions music. Wow. I'm going to give you some promo shots that they released. I think these were taken on ultra-wides, which I'm not playing on, by the way. I'm still a bit leery about making ultra-wide YouTube content because it kind of, you know, it letterboxes for people on 16:9 aspect ratios. But there you have Post the Searing. There we have the Char Homelands. I can't remember the name of the map. Grothmar, maybe. There we have I don't think that's the city of Torka in DOA. It's a Marganite city in the Realm of Torment. Possibly it's just the where you first load into the Realm of Torment. I couldn't tell you exactly. That's obviously the Crystal Desert, Dunes of Despair or something maybe. Oh no, that's actually right. That's the Fallen Statue, isn't it? That's the statue with the Ascension quest. Or the Attribute Point quest. This is Sorrow's Furnace. The OG dungeon, the OG update. Where it all began in many ways. And that, I would assume, maybe, if we're pairing it with this, is the Grent's Footprint. Oh, and then I got these. These are a bit tacky. I don't know whether I really wanted to include this, but I guess it's here anyway. This is the Steam database chart. So one of the big things here is they overhauled Guild Wars 1's integration with Steam. Guild Wars 1 has been on Steam for years. It came to Steam way back. If you look at that timeline, pre-2012, that looks like maybe 2009 it first came to Steam. But it was a very thin implementation. It wasn't very closely connected. You couldn't have like a Steam dedicated account or anything like that. With Reforged, they really pushed Steam again. And they overhauled a lot. They worked out the microtransactions. I actually heard for a while that this Enter Store button was going to start working for Reforged. But it doesn't. I mean, it would take you to the real in-game store that they used to have. That it does work. It takes you to a browser though. Anyway, and you can see here. So look at the timeline. 2012. There was a little spike right around Guild Wars 2's release. You can see that. That's Hall of Monuments players. And then it's just quiet. Nothing till a small spike in 2014. That's the anniversary patch. Nothing until a small spike after 2018. That's another anniversary patch probably, or the graphics patch. And that blue bar, right, that's almost at the bottom of the graph, that represents about 100 Steam players. That is not the entire Guild Wars 1 population, I want to be clear. Because obviously most of us play it on our own accounts on the dedicated client. That's what I'm doing right now, by the way. This is just my regular ass account. This is not a Steam account. It's not a new thing. I don't think there's any reason for me to do that on this series, on this project, is it? Anyway, nothing. 2020, you got a small spike. 2022, 2024. And then, if you look there, you have the anniversary from last year. There's a small spike. And suddenly, 2026, Christmas... That's this year, guys. That blue spike, that massive blue spike, that's what Reforged has done. A huge amount of people came. They had 5,600 people logged in at once, which is over halfway to what Guild Wars 2 has had lifetime on Steam, which is pretty mental. And now it's settled back down. It's settled down to about 700 players, which is good. It's good. It's like, what is that? Septupled the player base? There are a lot more people consistently into Guild Wars 1 now. I was really scared around Christmas that we'd have a spike and then it would completely evaporate. But that's not the case. We've had a good spike even on Steam. There will have been a spike on other players. And obviously you've got mobile now. I don't know. How do you track the Play Store? And I mean, is it going to be out on Apple devices? Doesn't Apple take a disgusting cut? Don't they take like a huge 20% cut of all sales? And just for reference there, you've got Guild Wars 2 as well. The green bar higher up, which has always enjoyed a good amount of people on Steam. I remember when it came to Steam after 2022, I was really hopeful that it was going to be a big reinvigorating moment for the scene. And we captured some players, of course. It's funny that the Reforged spike also coincided with a GW2 spike. People came to both games. And I think if I was Arenanet, I'd be looking at that. And I'd be thinking, if we handle multiple products at once, when one product does well, so does the other. Because think about it, what happened in Guild Wars 2 around that time? Did that overlap with anything major? Guys, that's the lifetime history of Guild Wars 2 on Steam, that bar. So that's Secrets of the Obscure, that's Janthia Wilds, that's Visions of Eternity, that's everything. And look at how Guild Wars 2 spiked. Because of Reforged. And that's the really fascinating thing. I've talked about this a few times in a few places on my channel. But that's pretty crazy, isn't it? Isn't it industry standard 30% on the Apple Store? It's pretty heavy. Like, I don't believe that VOE drove that massive green spike around there. There's no way. Why would VOE be that much more exciting? Literally all the stores take a 30% cut. Epic is 18%, which is the lowest. Does the Google Play for the Android store take as big a cut as Apple? I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But I am aware of stuff like that. So I'm funded through Patreon, right? And any of you that go there, thank you very much. But if people use the Patreon app on their Apple mobile phones, they have to pay way more because Apple takes a huge cut. Or I get less just because you're using an Apple device. Honestly, I don't understand how Apple has continued to be a big thing as I've grown older. But whatever, let's not get into that. So yeah, and then this is just the last year here. This is Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 1. And as far as Steam is concerned, you're reading that right. There were nearly 6,000 people playing Guild Wars 1. And there were about 6,000 people playing Guild Wars 2 today. Pretty incredible, isn't it? Okay, so there you go. There's a little bit of stats. That's the scene. And I've designed this intro, this little speech here, because I'm trying to imagine that the audience right now is someone who's completely lapsed from the scene and the genre or whatever. I just want you to know this is the climate that you're coming back to watching videos in. And it's a good time to come back to the game. There's a lot of people. The economy's going crazy. In our channel in Discord at the moment, people are talking about how Ectos are now worth 20 platinum each. 20 plat each? Weren't they worth like 3 plat just a couple of years ago? I swear they were. I've got a good amount of money in game, honestly, now. Because when I've come back to it every now and then through these past few years, I've done a lot of flipping and bartering and trading. A lot. Oh, I don't have Toolbox on, so I don't get the automatic storage open when I press I. Let me just flex for a second here. Let me just brag, which is something I never did for a single second on my previous LP. We actually have a birthday voucher. But I did a lot. Like, I was flipping these. Seize the Day, Strength and Honors. I was trading in Kamadan. I was loving it. I was trying to get a full collection of elemental shields. So we have Sleep Now in the Fire, like a Rolling Stone, Leaf on the Wind, Riders of the Storm. To swap around. These are my fast casting shields, so you get the max armor amount. And people disagreed with me, but they were wrong too, I really feel. You can feel the aggro shift when you swap onto these versus when you're off of them. If you're on a pure squishy comp. It's that much of an armor jump that you can feel the AI actually react to you. I've got all these elite tomes sitting around. And look at this, I got 2 stacks of Ectos here. I've got 7 arm braces. Someone very kindly gave us an arm brace last time we streamed, actually. And the rest is all mods from my time merchanting. What I would do is I'd buy rares, identify them for wisdom, the wisdom track, which was one of the last titles for me to get. You see I have exactly 10,000 identified. That will change as we go through this series here. And what I'd be hoping for is, you know, an aptitude. A forget-me-not is the big one. Aptitude, not attitude. Anything for a 2020 set, basically. All right, okay, before we get too nerdy and start about a bunch of stuff that people aren't really going to recognize. Let's go back to character select. Okay. It's nice that we can go to character. Oh my god, look, the borders around the frames, around the icons changes on the faction screen. I didn't realize that. Does it change again on Nightfall? Weird. So for prophecies and factions, you get the white borders. That's funny. They could be colored based on the mode that the character is playing in. Anyway, okay, here we go, guys. Let's get into it. And this is going to take a while. So let me take you back to 2024. And a lot of this stuff is stuff that I did actually talk about before, but we're going to cover again here. Real brief. So back in February, 2 years ago this is, 24 months ago, we're in the middle of all this downtime, right? And this update came in. The title music has been updated. Prophecy's got a higher bitrate theme. Factions, Nightfall, Eye of the North. Upgrades. Over the past 6 years, we introduced numerous upgrades to the game, all without any downtime. There was the enhanced graphics patch with enhanced draw distance, more detail, anti-aliasing support. And I was mind blown. When they did that update, guys, they were in the middle of a lot of Guild Wars 2 stuff, and I was like really hustling on Guild Wars 2 videos at that point. And I did that one Guild Wars 1 video about how the graphics got improved. And it got so many views. Everyone was desperate for Guild Wars 1 at that point. That was the moment where I really, I mean, I'd already felt it in my bones, but I really realized, fuck, man, people are excited about Guild Wars 1. People didn't forget. It's a very different product, a very different style of RPG. It has a place. And I think from that moment, when they did that patch, I really felt Arenanet should be juggling both games. So I'm like a pig in shit right now. I'm so happy. I'm so thrilled that they're doing that. And also because if they try to do another project down the line, they now have that proof to people. That doesn't mean they'll abandon Guild Wars 2. But, you know, we were living in this world where you had all these salty Guild Wars 1 players annoyed about Guild Wars 2 existing because it essentially replaced their old RPG. But no, both games have something to give. I feel it feels very surreal to be talking about all this. So anyway, that was one of the things they did. They increased FOV, chat upgrades for spam, expanded friends list, general latency enhancements, establishment of a new data center in Korea. I mean, look at that. Introduction of the 15th anniversary, many other miscellaneous improvements. Thank you for your support. And there you'll see it's signed by Stephen Clark Wilson, game director. Now, SCW's awesome. If you guys have watched I do Let's Plays on other games, obviously. I did a Let's Play on the Xbox original game, Azaric. And he was like, I don't know his actual title. Was he studio head, game director? That was like his baby, Azaric. And I had no idea. I did that Let's Play. If you go and watch my Let's Play for Azaric and you read the comments, you will see SCW geeking out with me and my community and the Azuric fans all about that game, giving all these interesting insights about how and why they did every episode. He's got like a wall of text on there for that entire LP I did. It was only years later I realized he was big on Guild Wars at Arenanet. I think he largely was doing like infrastructure and networking stuff, but he's actually full-blown game director for Guild Wars 1 now at this point. And so he said, just a couple of weeks after this post, on April 2024, 2 years ago, happy 19th anniversary. As many of you know, I've been part-time game director, programmer, janitor, etc. for Guild Wars 1 since 2018. And he said, I'm happy to report that starting 2 weeks ago, my time allocated to Guild Wars changed from 10% to 80%. Do you guys remember this post? I mean, I remember doing a video about this just so recently. I'm very excited to focus much more of my time on Guild Wars 1. I'd like to thank the studio leadership for working with me to figure out how to allocate my previous duties and roles to other staff. I'd also like to give a shout out to other long-tenured staff in the company who have helped me with their knowledge of the how and why things work the way that they do in Guild Wars 1. I'd like to set your expectations appropriately, he said 2 years ago. There's a lot of work to do on our back-end system, so not everything I do will be visible to players. But I'm happy to say I've recently spent more time in-game and fixed some long-standing problems. The game is still in maintenance mode, and there are no plans for new content. That said, I hope to improve your overall experience with Guild Wars 1, and I'll see you in-game. I remember this, guys. If I felt like a blink, he just said this. And so what was the fallout of this? It was a lot of techie kind of updates. I think I remember he changed the dye trader, which had black dye out of stock for like years and years and years. And he did something about it that meant... I think there was a bug. Oh yeah, I think what it was the value of black dye had gotten so low that players were no longer allowed to sell it to the vendor. So now the vendor could never stock it to create a price, so it just could never reappear. It was something like that. Anyway, he fixed stuff like that, right? On May that year, he said, I wanted to add some clarity around our policy regarding add-ons, which they hadn't clarified for a long time. Our general policy is to prohibit add-ons that provide a player with an advantage over another player. To increase the specificity of this policy with respect to the first game, I want to make it clear that using any add-on in PvP will violate the policy. Using add-ons does always have risk. Arena doesn't support any of these tools, as in they won't give you tech support. Using one can cause undefined behavior, especially now that there are more internal changes being made. That said, I have been in contact with the Toolbox developers. They have worked on a new interface to the game that should be more resilient to changes, and I've asked them to ensure that Toolbox is not active in PvP maps which they have done. As such, Toolbox is permitted for use in PvE. Toolbox is amazing, guys, and as a part of this series, I'll probably talk to you a bit about it because I didn't in my old LPs. Every time I've dipped back to the game over the past few years, I've been big on Toolbox. And we've seen over the years, Toolbox devs have added stuff, and then SCW's just kind of implemented it native. Like a lot of the rendering changes and stuff, if I remember rightly. We plan on adding this policy clarification to the code of conduct, and then they specify some stuff. So he said that. He fixed the audio issues where, you know, waterfalls sounded really loud in September. And here's what happened over this year. You know, slowly over the months, we got techie stuff. I'm not going to read all of these out. Added a new command line command dash stress so that people could stress test the client. It was part of the game until 2018. And he was always offering, like, interesting tidbits about this sort of stuff. In November that year, updated GPU memory calculation to be compatible with modern GPUs. Prepared for a compiler upgrade. Fixed a bug where texture memory was computed on some systems with integrated graphics that share their RAM and VRAM. Then we move into 2025. Okay, so this was last year. And they do this. Download and initialize a Steam API.dll. This is a preliminary step to better integration with Steam. So remember, as of at this point, I guess they still didn't have any formal big plans. But Reforged was all about coming to Steam and big stuff with Steam. But they started it right early on in the year. Note, Guild Wars on Steam is a legacy version. That's the thing I showed you on the Steam DB from like 2009. As far as I can determine, Guild Wars was first launched on Steam. Oh, there you go. He says it. April 22nd, 2009. We only sell game keys through the Steam store. We don't utilize other features. Consequently, significant effort is required to reconcile Steam purchases with our internal sales. Due to the lack of previous integration, certain development tasks will be more efficiently performed. So this is all stuff that wouldn't bring an audience back, right? Because it's not content. It's not that thrilling to people. Then we had the anniversary last year. This is the 20th anniversary. And you can go check out my videos of that, where we covered it. On April 15th, they say, when the anniversary actually happened, they will be permanently adding previous limited weapons. So, like, old weird skins like the Burger King shield and very strange things from Japanese-only giveaways and Korean-only giveaways. They were put in permanently in the game. They put quests in that gave you all the rare minis, like Vizu and the Panda and stuff, which I'm still a bit iffy about. I miss those hyper-prestige items. I mean, they're still kind of there because they're marked differently, but I don't know. So yeah, he gave us a preliminary thing. April 9th was the start of the event. Pre-order bonuses, special promotions, all kinds of weird weapons came in. Here was the list. Remember, we covered all of these. The Bear's Sloth, the Fox's Greed. We looked at all of these, every single one. We saw which ones we could figure out looked coolest and might be worth going for. And they actually started having... they added a whole new prefix as well on the items. The of the profession stuff, which was really the big thing. Which was really fun. And when I was doing my grind last year, it was really, really exciting to get those. Additionally, a series of miniatures. There you go, sorry. So the pig, the Grawl, the panda, all the really rare minis you can get through quests now. April 10th, they did this. They said Guild Wars 1 Steam Deck control layouts. And this anniversary was pretty big, right? And was more of a suggestion. Oh, my phone's going. I can't answer that. There's no way. Give me 1 second, guys. There we go, we'll see. I'll ask for a text. Yeah, hello friends, we've been working on an official Steam Deck controller layout. There are two layouts, the ABXY and the Souls-like. The Guild Wars 1 controls were created using a standard Steam Deck layout that converts the button presses. But there's a new beta version of them in the community layouts page. So this is where we start to see stuff with Steam Deck and the Steam Deck release. And there was a huge amount of information here. I'm not going to read it all. And I've never played this game on Steam Deck. I don't know whether people in the live chat or the YouTube comments want to let me know how you felt with the big reveal, the big announcement over Christmas. And because I don't have a Steam Deck. I don't think I can justify, guys, buying a Steam Deck just for this series. So I don't think I will. But, you know. Here they say how to use the ABXY binding, how to use a Souls-like binding. Look at all this stuff they introduced. They had all these infographics for it. I don't know whether what they revealed here at this point is what ended up happening with the Reforged reveal. But you can see all this detail that they gave. And this is also why, by the way, when around Christmas they announced Reforged, I'm living alone at the moment, guys, and looking after some dogs. And one of the dogs is very ill. He was having very bloody vomit and poo and stuff. It was a weird sidebar there. And I'm just being asked whether he's all right, and he is all right. The doggie's okay. The Dachshund's okay. He's getting better. I actually just put him to bed right before I started streaming here. Yeah, this is also why at Christmas I kind of raised my eyebrows a bit, because I was thinking, well, we already did Steam Deck layouts and stuff. But they went a lot further. They started changing the UI, as you'll see. But look at all these things. It's crazy. So there you go. Then there was the actual 20th anniversary patch. And they did a big sale. So last year you missed it, guys, but the 20th anniversary Masterpiece collection went on sale, which had everything, like including the bonus mission pack, and it was incredibly cheap. It was 80% off. And they say our best deal ever. Now, I might be wrong about this. Can the live chat help me out? I'm pretty sure this did not come back this year for the 21st anniversary. I think people were expecting it to return, weren't they? But it didn't. And in fact, when Reforged came out and they did the big marketing push for Reforged, they also didn't bring this crazy discount down. This discount was for people really at the twilight years, the twilight days of, the quiet times for Guild Wars 1. I think the price is higher now. Even during sales, the price is higher. And I think you just have to expect it to be higher forevermore. Because it's now a game as a service, right? It's a forever game. It's a game that they're looking to perpetually support, and for that reason, they're going to justify a higher price. No? It doesn't need to return because they're all combined. Well, no. Hold on. If you buy Reforged, you don't get Eye of the North, isn't it separate? Eye of the North is still separate, but this was everything. I'm pretty sure the Anniversary Masterpiece was bigger and better, wasn't it? I know, some of these details are slipping out of my mind here. But there you go. And then they say, look, here's the new anniversary content, which we just talked about. One more thing. We are also excited to announce we permanently added a new series of suffixes, the Of the Profession. They're available as rare drops. This was the big shake-up, and this was fun. And what they do is they increase your primary attribute limit while you're holding it. And so it means you could get fast casting on a class that shouldn't have fast casting, or divine favor on a class that shouldn't have it, and there were so many interesting new elements and ideas to the build craft. And as I was grinding my Kurzik stuff, I was like hoping to get good drops for this. I think I had a few actually. In fact, just out of curiosity, should we log in? Let's see what my Mesmer has. What of the professions did I have? Well, this is just a generic 40-40. This is my defensive set. That's my high energy set. That's just a pulling bow. So did I not actually collect any in the end? I'm sure I was getting a staff. Did I not use anything of the profession? I definitely did. I had like a... Oh, yeah, okay. My high energy set is of the Elementalist now. It's energy plus 15, minus 1 regeneration, and energy storage plus 5. So when I go to my high energy set, I go from 46 energy to 91. Yeah, I do remember that. I'm sure I set up some staves and things. But yeah, that was an interesting element of last year. This year's anniversary didn't do anything like that. And it didn't do any elite skills. But don't worry, there's plenty of other things that they have been doing. Increase the duration of many consumables for that year as well. And so there you go. Okay. So now we're ready. So the anniversary happened. Things went quiet again. Everyone was focusing on Guild Wars 2. The expectation was that Guild Wars 1 would just be simmering away in the background again now until probably the 25th anniversary, 30th, I don't know, 50th. Who's going to be playing in 2070? Maybe. And then the Reforged announcement happened. So this was at the start of December. Guild Wars Reforged. And they did that trailer we watched. This new key art was concepted of Devonna. And you might be wondering, why is Devonna a big focus? Well, I'll just give you a little spoiler. Devonna is now a hero that you can recruit. I've never done it. Like I said, I've not actually played this stuff, but I have been keeping up with the news. So that makes a bit more sense to me now, why they had Devonna as a big thing. There are actually 2 new heroes at this point. So here's what they said. Guild Wars Reforged is our largest update in years. Released on December 3rd, following the 20th anniversary. And they say following, but it was quite a bit later. This update focuses on enhanced support for modern hardware, Steam integration, and controller compatibility. Release and pricing. Reforged is available for purchase on Steam or directly from Arenanet. The newly revised edition contains Prophecies, Factions, and Nightfall for $20. No Eye of the North. It's still sold separately. We've retired the ability to purchase campaigns separately. They're always bundled together, though. And if you were a historical player that only owned Factions or you only owned Prof, you now have them all. Just to streamline that. Players who previously owned only one or even just the PvP pack, get them all. Eye of the North and the bonus mission pack are branded as DLC and are correctly set up on Steam in that way. And the additional stuff and they reduce prices for a lot of other things. All Guild Wars Reforged enhancements are available as a free update for existing players and existing accounts. You don't have to buy anything new. This was just an update for the first game. So we addressed compatibility issues with 4K displays. I'm not shooting this series on 4K, guys. I don't know what those issues might have been necessarily. The interface now has 6 UI sizes: small, normal, large, larger, extra large, and really large. See, this sort of stuff I haven't actually played with now. So let's have a little look here, shall we? I would have expected the interface drop down to be here. No, here you go. Okay, so small is what I used to play when I was a teenager. And I think in a lot of my LPs I used to play on small as well. My thinking here was it's more immersive, right? And it does give you more screen real estate. If you're happy to squint. Normal is a bit too small for a 2K display, in my opinion. Sorry, a 1440p display. It's not technically 2K. Large is my go-to now with my failing eyes. And they've added these. Larger, extra large. And what's good about this is it's not just blowing up the assets and making them look blurry, is it? I don't know. Maybe it is, actually. The compass looks a little... No, it looks like it's properly scaling them, right? Because obviously if you go into interface, you can scale in this way. But by picking an actual full interface size, I think you get higher resolution assets, maybe? I don't know. Probably not. I'm probably wrong about that. Anyway, so that's one thing they've done. Many other graphic updates have come in, obviously. It's just that they came in over those other years. The client is now DPI aware, automatically defaulting to appropriate UI sizes based on your monitor DPI settings. On the Steam Deck, the interface defaults to larger. Steam integration. Reforged features full Steam integration. With Steam Deck verified status pending approval from Valve. Yeah, so Valve had to review it to actually give them that tag. I remember when Reforged came out, it was a bit disappointing to me, and I did mention it in a video. The whole thing was for it to be a big, cool announcement right with the Steam Deck. And then they weren't actually Steam Deck verified when they released it, and I thought, that sucks. But they did get it, don't worry, that did end up happening. Bunch of stuff about purchases I'm not going to waste your time with. And they've introduced native support for controllers, which does give you new UI. I don't know how much we'll see. I will endeavor to get a controller. I'm not going to buy a whole Steam Deck for this LP. Not unless I see a goddamn £600 donation or whatever the fuck it cost. Didn't they just up the price? Because of the RAM apocalypse going on. But I will see if I can get a controller so that we can see that UI. Apparently it plays really well on controller. I actually used to play this on an Xbox 360 controller with like X-Pad. And I had a lot of fun with that. I actually used to do random arenas on that as well. So dare I say it, I was even a little bit competitive doing that. A little bit. It was only RA. Task Tracker. A new task tracker displays active objectives for current missions or selected quests. The tracker can be repositioned or disabled in interface options. Let's play with that. I haven't seen that either. So if I go to my quest log and I go to, say, Defend Drockner's Forge, do I have a pin button here? No, pin just means when I press escape, the UI doesn't turn off, right? Yeah. So how do I see the new tracker element? Oh, I've made my compass a bit too big, haven't I? I see task tracker there. Oh, I do have it. Okay, I'm going to put it under the compass, which is where I expect it to be. Most modern games give you the thing up there, right? Defend Trockner's Forge. Because that's my primary quest. That's cool. Find and destroy the Titan Lord of Viscero Sectus and his army in the Mineral Springs. And if I swap to a Show of Force, it swaps to that. And we get these icons. I think the icon represents the region. So that's the Realm of Torment icon. This is the Far Shiver Peaks. I think those icons are actually being reused. That is the same tile that you see on character select behind your character that shows what region they're in. So that was quite clever of Arenanet / 2 weeks, I guess, to reuse in that way. It's weird that it's not actually conforming to the bounds of the box, isn't it? And also that I can't expand or shrink it in any way. But okay. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. We can actually see what we're doing. Very modern, common thing in games these days, right? But Guild Wars 1 didn't actually have. Okay, cool. What else we got? FXAA, which, you know, most of us were using for post-processing anyway, frankly. You know, any kind of overlay thing could have done this. NVIDIA has it baked in and stuff. But there you go. It's actually there in-game now. Should I turn it on just for funsies? Should we actually use it? I mean, do we care about saving the frames? I don't think we really do we? I'll stay on MSAA. What else we got? Oh yeah, ambient occlusion. Screen space ambient occlusion implementation that adds subtle self-shadowing to objects and characters. You can toggle it in the graphic settings. Now this one I'm quite interested in. And again, this you could also do through things like reshade. But I wonder what their default... Oh, it's already on. Okay. So you can see we get a little bit more shading behind those. Does anyone in chat have any ideas of a place I can go to really demonstrate the SSA, the ambient occlusion? What you would want is some place with a lot of small detail, right? Eye of the North is probably your best bet at that. As some of the last content they did. But I don't know, all the towns and cities are pretty big and open. Do you think maybe Ratasum has a, like a crafting area or something? A bunch of little tables with items on desks and things that we can look at? It'll probably make foliage and stuff look just that bit better and pop that little bit more. And have that little bit more natural contrast and shadowing. I think it... Oh, yeah. I think they were saying pre-release as well that this would also have a good impact on the characters. The character models, maybe? Was that it? The thing is, a lot of the shadowing you see on the armors in this game are... It's just like painted directly on. And it creates a good look. Things tend to look a bit plasticine-y, a bit plasticky, a bit beeswaxy in Guild Wars 2, right? Guild Wars 1 doesn't have that. It has that much more sort of... I have no idea what term to use to describe that. Someone smarter than me can do that. So I don't know how much SSAO will really do. But yeah, we see a bit. You can see it under my neck, for example. You can see my neck feels a bit better shaded. My eyes look a little bit better shaded. Under the shoulder pads here. By the way, the reason I'm in the Destroyer gloves is another weird thing. Oh, yeah, oh my god, I had the fucking thing on screen. I had the thing on screen here, so you can see. So you guys didn't see the foliage either, did you? So basically, it's very, very little. Don't trust me, guys. You weren't missing out on much. You can just see it's a little bit more contrast. And then on my character's face here, you can see under the neck, under the shoulder pads. Oh no, that's nostalgia mode. We're not ready to talk about nostalgia mode. No, turn nostalgia mode off. We'll deal with nostalgia mode in a second. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everyone. See that for a second. Yeah, and the hard corners here. My guess is that this is probably exactly how they do it in Guild Wars 2. We've seen over the years a lot of things that were implemented into Guild Wars 2 came into Guild Wars 1. And like this checkbox was here in GW2 right from release, right? So yeah, there you go, SSAO. I don't know. What else we got? HD skill icons. Now that's another good one. We've updated the skill icons with HD versions, most of which have been re-encoded from the original source. The rest have been upscaled and they've been manually repainted. We have focused on preserving the look and feel of the icons while adding sharpness and clarity. You can toggle between the original icons and the upgraded icons using the new HD icon setting in the graphics options. Okay, let's actually turn this off this time. Now, this is probably the most interesting graphics update. Little story. For years, the die-hard players have had... Okay, to be clear, the Guild Wars 1 skill icons were really low res. They did not look good, and especially as you scaled the UI up with the modern higher resolutions, they look terrible. So what a lot of the diehards have been doing for like over a decade, 15 years, is we've been using things like text mod, right, to substitute the textures with high-res ones. Because as it so happens, Arenanet released some asset packs displaying their internal high-resolution assets for the skill icons onto like the wiki. They had all been compiled on the wiki, and people put them into packs. And where they came from was because I think it was this. I think it's because there was a physical card game people played at conventions. I never went to any of these conventions. I'm pretty sure there was a physical card game people were playing. And to be able to print their own cards or something, I think Arenanet released the assets. I don't know. Anyway, so you could get the high-resolution skill icons, but with the caveat that you had to jump through hoops for it. And the other caveat that it was only some skills. If it hadn't appeared in that game, it wouldn't appear like as a part of the resolution pack. So the thing I was always excited about is there is a skill. Most of the main player skills were covered. A lot of monster skills weren't, but okay, fine, whatever. You only really see those while they're casting them or you're getting hit with them. But there was a big one. There was a big core skill, a really, really bog standard skill for Guild Wars 1 that I can guarantee you everyone has, that we never had a high resolution edition of. Does anyone in the live chat want to type what it was? I've talked about this many times over the years, and I was kind of mind blown for Guild Wars Reforged that it was at, even before we're talking about new content, I was like, holy, we're going to get it. We're going to get the high resolution edition of this thing. I'll tell you as well, it's kind of like a jokey series of videos a few years ago. On my second channel, I did some like rate the skill art videos. Like I did top 10 skill art and I did bottom 10 skill art. And I talked about this in that as well. What I tended to find is my favorite skill art in the game are signets. Yeah, there you go. People have got it. Res signet. The signets look amazing, especially the high res ones. They look so good. So look at that. Look at that big juicy skill bar. And the signets, I love the way signets look, right? But we never had resurrection signet. There was never a high res sig. Oh my god. And yeah, like every character had it. So with Reforged, finally, Arenanet released. Modern Arenanet released, or 2 weeks. I don't know who to talk about. Should I be talking about 2 weeks? We actually have it. Look at it. You can see the Phoenix get there, guys. And that might not look like much. You might not care. But trust me, that's like a story 15 years in the making for me. Signet of Capture might have also been one of the low-res ones. And here now you can see all the little details in there. Oh, and that's also a PvE skill. So it's just got rid of Cry of Pain. I think I had Cry of Pain there. Probably had Cry of Pain there. Yeah. Wow. So we get these. Interestingly enough, I have been told that quite a few icons have changed. Maybe one of the Norn ones was one. The Touch of Guile? No. You move like a dwarf? I think it might be you move like a dwarf? No. I think, mate, a tryptophan signet was weird for a while. It looked like a bag of salt or something. But now we have this. It's a turkey. Why is it a turkey, you might be asking? I love the art on that. The signets is clearly the best skill icons, man. Look at these fucking things. I'll tell you what. Talking about real-life collections of skill pins and coin collecting and stuff, which is something I'm kind of getting into lately. A real-life collection of real metal signets would be amazing. Look at these things. It's because... I don't know. I don't eat turkey. Turkey to me is a very American thing. But doesn't turkey have tryptophan in it? Isn't that a chemical that makes you sleepy? And Americans talk about that at Thanksgiving. Am I right? I think I'm right about that. So that's why tryptophan signet is a turkey. But there's a drunken master. I think that's new. So there's a lot of weird ones. Mike also, I haven't spoken to Mike for ages. I need to get in contact with him. Mike told me when he was testing this out back in December when this came out, some of the skill icons had been really weird. Like he'd get hit by a monster and like meteor shower would look weird. Or I am actually /elementalist at the moment. Let's go to fire magic. Or like firestorm would look weird. Do you guys know what I'm talking about with that? I'm sure he sent me some screenshots of it. But look, the skills are the heart of this skill. Look how good Phoenix looks, man. Collecting skills, finding interesting skill bars, they are at the heart of this game. The build craft is what makes this game. And you get very little like in the skill animations. It's really all about this deck building. You know, it's kind of like collecting trading cards in a way. So the more effort and the more beautiful these look, the better, you know. So this is genuinely a big update. Some of you guys aren't going to give a shit and you're going to think that I'm laboring the point. But I really stand by that. I really mean that. Unfortunately, they have like the enchantment thing baked into them and stuff. But whatever. So yeah, what did I have? Unnatural Signet, probably. And I know what you're thinking. Boring build, WP. Wow. Yeah, just to be clear, then. Well, no, I'm jumping ahead. There are skill changes, so we'll get to that. Right. Let's go back. Let's see what else they did. Oh, okay. Americans say that turkey has tryptophan in it, but apparently it's a myth. It's a myth? I am correct about tryptophan turkey. From Tears are there. I don't know who to believe. No, I don't know. People say that when you eat a big meal, you get sleepy, right? But to me, that's not because it's meat. That's just because you overindulged. And you're pre-diabetic. Or something. I don't know. What else have we got? We had audio improvements. For years, you've seen a button on the audio tab that says Use EAX. We've replaced it with an option that actually works by adding a support for OpenAL Soft as an audio driver, fully integrated without the need for the excellent player-created add-on. Yeah, there was an add-on that someone released in the year's interim. Basically, well, let's see what Steven says. This includes EFX support, which emulates the original hardware-based EAX enhanced audio that Guild Wars previously supported, but was deprecated in Windows Vista. Yeah, guys, when Vista came in, Guild Wars 1 audio was bugged. For all these years, you weren't hearing it how you should have been hearing it. And then after maybe 2017 or something, there was a third-party solution, but it was kind of a very fringe thing. Anyway, they came and fixed it. With OpenAL enabled, the game has enhanced reverb, occlusion, reflection effects. The option is enabled in Enable Environmental Effects. I don't really know where to go to demo this. My go-to, but I think my go-to was quite poor. My go-to was the Dragon's Throat, which under the old audio, this river of sludge... Where is it? Or the waterfalls here, I think it was. Yeah, you hear those? The running water all the way over there? It's so weird how I defaulted. Yeah, and like, there you go. That river of sludge. This, okay, for years when you were here, all you could hear on the entire outpost was... You get the picture. That's all you could hear, no matter where you were standing, because the 3D nature of the audio wasn't really working. For the reverb, I don't know. Where can we go? Can we go somewhere underground that sounds echoey and cool? Can we go to maybe like Ice Tooth Cave? And can we wander around here and will it sound echoey? Our footsteps? I gotta be honest, guys. I can barely hear the game right now. Let me turn up. I'm hoping you can all hear it quite well, because I am compressing it. Like, this isn't a very icy cave, though, is it? What's a good cave with the reverb? You're glad you got your ears cleaned out for this stream. Yeah, everybody go get your ears cleaned out. Check out my recent videos where I gave you my... I went in for a hearing test and I got my results. Once more with feeling. Okay, alright. Moving on. What else we got? Should we bring Liz back? Whoopsie, that's not Liz. This is Liz. Login and account management. We've made the login process smoother. On Steam, you now have the option of creating an account tied to Steam ID or logging into your existing email-based account. You can remember your password. You can, by the way, you can obscure your account name as well if you're a streamer or a video maker, so that you can actually show that area of the UI off without people seeing it. If you find you're automatically getting different login screens that you desire, you can cancel it, blah, blah, blah. So this is all Reforged. This was the start of December. Known issues. Okay, so there was no way to rebind controller buttons in-game. You could do it on Steam, but not in-game. They say currently. Has that been resolved, guys, over the past couple of months while I was dealing with a house burning down? Did that get resolved? I don't think it did. I don't think there's an in-game way of doing it yet. Playing with a controller does bring up some new UI on screen as you're playing. I know that. There is actual UI work and differences. And certainly if you're playing on mobile, by the way. If you play on mobile, they split the skill bar in half, which is pretty fascinating. So that your thumb on the right-hand corner of the screen can get all the skills really easily by going up and to the right or down and to the left. But yeah, hero management controls are, you have to use the virtual cursor. Status of Steam Deck verification, they're on the second submission to Valve. I guess Valve rejected it based on some weird grounds, and they're trying to fix it up. I have to say, 2 weeks in Arenanet should be so proud, right? How many people have just gone back and put a 2008 game on Steam Deck verified? Not many people will have done that. I think that's pretty cool. There were some hot fixes. I'm not going to read all of those. But there you go. What you'll notice is that the graphical improvements that came bundled with Reforged were not really a big deal. The big deal ones, like the draw distance and the fog and the FOV and all that shit, they were just random patches that SCW had put in before. Wiki noted that the dialogue pinning option got added that pins a button to several dialogues. Pin dialogues don't close when you press escape, meaning you can keep them up. And the best one for that, by the way, now feel free to disagree with me, guys, but if you're going to play the game, if you're going to come with me through Reforged, the best one is the minion panel, which is default Y, or at least I have it as Y. Pin that, man. Pin the minions, and look, it even snaps to the top. That's very cool. If you're actually playing a build that has minions, this is very fun. Or if you're using, you know, like your Shining Blade Warhorn when you're out on an adventure, or an Evan Vanguard Assassin, you'll see his health bar. You know, you can put in below. You don't have to remember to open it every time you go out on an adventure. It won't close. Pinning's pretty cool. I don't know whether on our Let's Play in a second here, we're actually going to play a character that uses those. We're going to be in pre-searing a lot as well, which basically means unless we're in Necro, we're not going to have that. We could be, though. I'll throw it up to a vote. So there you go. We got that. A quick patch after as well. Reduce some client hiccups. Fixed a rendering issue with SSAO in some places, like the Catacombs and the Seat of Talker. The Catacombs! Oh, if you get cool new echoing audio in the Catacombs, that's going to be awesome. Do you guys remember the dude that was rebuilding pre-searing in Planet Zoo? We also had a guy building pre-searing in Unreal Engine, like last year in the Spud Club. In the Guild Wars 1 channel in the Spud Club. Someone remind me to @ him and ask how he's going, because I haven't actually heard from him since Reforged came out. I wonder if the Reforged project put him off. That would be a shame. Fix skill icons getting clipped in damage monitor. That's weird. Fix a crash bug in observer mode when you use a controller. On the 8th, they fixed a bug in bonus mission pack for some account management thing. Prevented the task tracker for working sometimes. Addressed an issue where every trader in game decided to stop trading. So they're starting to deal with these weird things. On the 9th of December, an issue with CD keys and that stopped people getting Charlie, the fire imp. December 12th, we had this note. And this felt very real and very, like, I don't know, like, I like this. I assume this is SCW speaking. He says, how often have you seen a press release from a company where they said they are thrilled to announce something? Well, I am genuinely thrilled. to announce that we are now officially verified on the Steam Deck. So it didn't take them too long. To those of you noticing the coincidental timing between our announcement supporting Steam Deck and also the Valve announcement, which announced the Steam Machine and the new Steam controller, well, guess what? It really was a coincidence, and I am thrilled about these new platforms coming next year, and I'm happy in our expectation to be compatible with those as well. Yeah, I was definitely... I mentioned this in some videos. I didn't think that was a coincidence. I'm not very... Where are Valve based? They're in... Are Valve in Bellevue as well? Aren't both of these companies, like, in the same place? Bungie's out there as well, right? Destiny... Isn't Destiny, like, being made in the same area? Are Valve out there? I was sure that this was a thing where, you know, behind closed doors, everyone knew that a big Valve announcement was happening. And the Guild Wars guys were like, yeah, let's get our reveal going. And it's funny because the timing was so tight. It was like the Valve announcement happened, and then the Arenanet announcement happened too. And like they had told some of us about this announcement a little bit early, right? So I knew that this was coming. And then when the Valve thing came out, I was like, holy wow. And it was really good, except, of course, the RAM apocalypse has also happened. So the Steam Machine, even though it was announced at Christmas, we're a few months on now, and the Steam Machine has no price. They have finally released the Steam controller, by the way. Has anyone bought that? Has anyone been playing Reforged on Steam controller? But yeah, all the prices are jumping. The Steam Deck has jumped. So it's pretty tough times at the moment. Of all of these devices, the one I'm excited about is the Steam Frame. And now I'm thinking to myself, you know, my PC's getting a little bit old now. So I can't really render VR games as well as I want to. And now the device itself is going to be way more expensive than a Quest 3, which is what I already have, so... I don't know, you guys can let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, it really was a coincidence. And I love that they put that in the communication there. Guild Wars Reforged on Steam Deck. Steam Deck verified. And I hope one day to see it as Steam Machine verified. But also this. 2 weeks. I want to see it Steam Frame verified. Alright, look. I know there's not many of us out there. But the Steam Frame, if you do a native stereoscopic 3D rendering pipeline for the Steam Frame so that people can play Guild Wars 1 truly stereo on the frame, that would be fucking amazing. That is like my personal... Listen, guys, I'm telling you, I know none of you believe in 3D. I know you think it was gimmicky with the glasses and it was dimmer and you had to play in the dark and the glasses looked goofy and the viewing angles and the frame rate, blah, 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 blah. Ignore all that, all right? Stereo gaming is amazing. These VR headsets and the Steam Frame in particularly need content that people can play. They need content that renders well. And do you know what? Old games like Guild Wars, they render well. Look at the frames I'm getting. I don't have a very good PC. Where's my FPS? I'm over 100 FPS right now, right? Which is actually way lower than I thought it was going to be, to be honest. Kind of defeats my argument a little bit. This game could definitely be done. Native stereo 3D on the machine, on the frame. Where you sit and you play with your controller. Or a mouse and keyboard, and people don't get fatigued from long gameplay sessions because they're not doing all the motion controls and stuff. Trust me, it's a big one. If the Steam Frame came out with fucking Guild Wars 1 native support right there as one of the big things that people can buy because that verified tick is there. Oh, that would be so good. That would be a baller for Guild Wars 2 as well, by the way. But obviously Guild Wars 2 suddenly is really tricky on the frame rate and stuff. But yeah, I would love that. Look, I'm not saying that it's actually prudent. I'm not saying there's actually a big audience. I'm not saying you'd get a real return for your investment. But maybe you will. Maybe. Can I just point out? Oh, I'm scrolling back. I'm scrolling back through 40 screenshots. I told you guys it was going to be a long intro. Look at that. Look at that. That big spike. All right. And you'll be getting another one with your mobile release. I think, to be deadly serious, I think a big focus for them is getting the game on as many platforms as possible. There's an obvious return on investment immediately doing that. So yeah, Steam Frame. When and as it comes out, as long as it's not too overpriced because of the RAM apocalypse and people are actually still hyped. See, the thing with the Steam Frame is they're not just marketing it as a VR headset, right? It's a streaming headset. It's about taking your existing library and playing games on it. Just as the Steam Deck is. So, anyway. Right, where are we? Have I scrolled too far ahead? No, there you go. So that was December 12th. Okay, right before Christmas. Now it's exciting. All right, let's bring the trailer up. Okay, preamble is done. Now we're on to the juicy stuff. Now we start talking content. Remember how it all started. So I'm going to read it again. Experience it like never before. Steam Deck verified. Steam Frame verified. New low price. Guild Wars Reforged. Oh, the padding. You gotta love it, right, guys? Okay. Preamble, and it's been an hour. Look, I have a lot to cover, all right? I wasn't able to cover it. I gotta cover it. VR pre-searing. Look, I'm not talking about full VR with motion controls and stuff. I'm talking about Guild Wars as it is, played as it is, but with a slightly tweaked UI and a stereo pipeline for playing on the frame. That's it. That's all I'm talking about. They're like 90% of the way there. I talked more about coins. I did. I talked about my fancy Lord of the Rings coins. The first of which I cannot wait to get. I got my pure acetone, came in the mail today, guys. I got all my acetone, and it's in a huge jug. I got some deionized water so that I can clean the coins without them getting like little milky white spots on them. What else did I get? Some little holders for the coins. Anyway, look, seriously. December 18th, right before Christmas. Our partners at 2weeks.games, is that what they're called fully? Is that their full name, 2weeks.games? Have been hard at work understanding our tool chains. We present to you their first experiments. So can I just remind you guys that January 2024, in comes SCW. He gets to be a proper game director, 80% time on Guild Wars 1. We go about a year and it's mostly techie stuff. We don't think much is happening. He explicitly says no content. And suddenly, by December 25, it's like we're a whole world away. We got new stuff. Okay, so Reforged mode, which was in an alpha in December, and as I've mentioned, is now gone to beta. Activate it during character creation. Your character will have a badge visible in-game. Pike Square will be accessible as an outpost for Reforged mode players in pre. But you have to fight your way there. You get more XP and gold. Enemies have lower health and armor. Was that really necessary? Pre is pretty easy. I felt like the difficulty curve there was perfect in pre. I don't think that's necessarily better, but okay. Henchmen have been returned and are more powerful. Henchmen have been returned. Does that mean there's henchmen in pre-searing Ascalon now? Wait. Were there ever... I didn't think there were ever henchmen in pre. Were there henchmen in pre? I honestly can't remember now. The Northland in pre-searing has new spawns. For multiplayer parties, all players have to be in Reforged party to experience the Reforged content. Mixed parties will see the standard content. This is an alpha feature we are sharing to gather early feedback. It's only presented in English. Okay, so what's the deal, guys? The deal is this. SCW in 2 weeks were nervous about adding content to a 20-year-old game that people knew and loved. What if they add new content and it's bad and it tramples on pre-existing experiences, right? What if they break the game and the economy of the game and stuff like that in a way that means it's not fun anymore? Have they taken something away from... sorry, I'll put the game audio back on. Have they taken something away then? You know, have they broken things? And they were nervous about that. And I think that that's a wise thing to be nervous about. I think preserving the past is good. And so what they said is, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it so that we're going to silo it into this thing called Reforged mode. You have to actually toggle into Reforged mode to experience the tweaks and the things that we're making. That way, classic, regular, default is always available. And that also means that everyone's existing characters, like my character here, with all of his titles and everything done, we're not trampled on. What we earned is still exactly the same. We don't get the... I had to do this back in my day. They didn't have lower health and armor. Back in my day, I had less money. Back in my day, I had less XP. So I still get my proof of achievement, right? Because this isn't a Reforged character. So when you're a Reforged character, you'll now notice all these players running around. Look at this. This guy here. He's a level 13 Monk Elementalist. And it's bizarre for me to see even a single other player in Pike and Square right now, let alone all these guys. This is amazing. And they have these red shields. That person actually has 2 shields. We'll talk about that in a second. That means that they're in Reforged mode. Okay? So yeah, Pike and Square was always an outpost. It was a very popular outpost in post-Searing Ascalon. This is where you would get Althea's Ashes, the quest, which gave a lot of XP. And you could take the quest, get the ashes, abandon the quest, and retake it again to farm the item and just sell the item to people to power level them. So there was a little economy going on here in the early days of power leveling. And I'm talking the very early days here, which people always discuss. I've discussed more times than I probably should have. The quest itself with Althea is really cool. This is where you find out she died in the Searing. And there's all that cool buried world building and lore. The Guild Wars 1 did very well. Wasn't really laid in there. This guy, you'll see, has 3 shields. And so, yeah, titles you earn, the shields show up with the titles. So that's a new little taste of what's going on. Right. Moving on. As for going to pre and seeing the characters there and seeing Pike and Square there, I've never done that. I'm doing that blind in this playthrough as we go on. Once we've got through this news, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a new character. We're going to toggle it into Reforged mode, and we'll see where we end up. They also released, at that Christmas, Doom's Covenant. You can also activate Doom's Covenant during character creation. Doom's Covenant is a challenging mode available throughout the game where you strive to avoid dying, ever. So it's like the Survivor title. But Survivor, if you die, it just puts you back to 0 and you can try again, and then you die and it puts you back to 0 and you can try again. This basically, if you go into the Doom's Covenant, you get that little medal, and it shows to everyone, I have never died. So, it's kind of what Survivor used to be, or should have been, would have been, could have been. But you can rep it with another title. And yeah, it's basically a permadeath run. If you want to try permadeath, you can do that. Upon your character's death, you lose the badge permanently, but you can keep playing the character. Any titles you earn while under Good Doom's Covenant will have their badge. If you lose the Covenant, any future ranks will not display the badge. It's a feature. It's a beta feature, and it will undergo changes. I think they changed the color. I think originally it was green, and now it's silver. I think it was that. They also made the party size in pre-searing 4 players. So I'll tell you what, guys, when we get in a minute, if you guys want to play with me, that'll be really novel. Running around with 4 people instead of 2 in pre. It'll be like when Halo 3 came out and they had 4-player co-op instead of just 2. And it's like, whoa. Not that there's much challenging in pre that I know. I mean, there's a dungeon there now, so we'll see. One more thing. Classic pre-game backgrounds. I already discussed those. The prophecy scene was not designed for 360 degrees, so it has a fixed camera. But it's nice they put that bit of work in there. A couple of bug fixes. And there you go. That was Christmas, guys. Oh no, they did a hot fix. Fixed a bug where players could move the camera in some character select and then go to the prophecies one and get an awkward view. Fixed a bug where people got dishonored in the little bit of PvP as you leave pre-searing. Fix a Reforged bug where some henchmen would become stuck in later prophecies areas. That's odd. I don't know what that really means. Adjusted item spawn rarities in Reforged. Adjusted health and armors so that they no longer applied to pets, minions, and NPCs in Pre. Yeah, they had a lot of shit to figure out with Pre. Adjusted the spawn positioning, cut the position coming out of Ashford to prevent some players in player parties instantly getting teleported back. Oh, that's hilarious. So were people just getting ping-ponged back and forth? Fix an issue where some henchmen wouldn't appear in your party. Account preferences updated more often on the server. Okay. Fix a client crash when you had high graphics and you logged out in some places like Doomlore. Weird. So I just put a little screenshot here where I was making this slideshow because I knew this was going to be long. This is supposed to be your refresher, guys. Sorry, I'm looking at chat. I see Ambe saying I give up trying. Uh-oh. Is that trying to get my attention for something? But I'm too busy reading my PowerPoint. Oh, you just got to the dungeon. You're excited to try it. Yeah, I can't wait. Well, I can wait. Well, after we talk about this, I hope to... Can I get there today, guys? Can I get to the dungeon? Update, January 7th. So, there you go. That was Christmas. So, we're into January now. So, the updates kept coming. Fix an issue where the title badges for Covenant and Reforged were sometimes missing. Fix a bug where getting drunk in-game caused an internal rendering buffer to clobber the visible graphics rendering buffer. Fixed a long-standing bug where Winter's Day maps would slow down the longer they ran. This is why you might have seen districts become unavailable. Fixed a bug where players would use random number generator than others, resulting in desyncs. Fixed a bug where players' territory wasn't always reported to the game server. Moved location of inaccessible Char champions to for the Vanguard Annihilation Char quest when in Reforged mode. Like, are people getting Eldoa, Reforged Eldoas? Is it easier? Because of the dungeon now? Adjust the map reverb delay when using OpenAL to reduce the intensity of droning sounds in some areas. Yeah, like what though? Where were the echoey places? Close some previously open gates along the northern wall in the Northlands. Fortunately, the Char weren't actually exploiting them. They weren't using them. Fixed a bug where the skill monitor was right justified instead of left justified. At the end of January, they added another thing. This is a third badge, the third and final one now. Today, we're introducing another game mode for those looking to further the challenges in Guild Wars. We're adding Melandru's Accord. And in the patch notes, they didn't give us the big R icon for it, I'm afraid. A new mode that requires you to earn all the skills and items for your character without leveraging player trading account storage. This new mode is inspired by community-driven Iron Man challenges. Which is what I did. If you go back to my original Prophecies playthrough with my crappy mic and my nervous British voice, when I was a little boy, making my early video... I wasn't a little boy. Sadly. But if you go back, I did an Iron Man challenge. I had to play the game solo. I didn't allow myself to skip ahead. I didn't allow myself heroes. I didn't allow myself tomes. I didn't allow myself purchases out of order. And I tried to beat Prophecies under that rule set. And I promise you, it was really, 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 really hard. In fact, it was impossible. When I got to the Fire Island chain, I had to break the rule. I couldn't do it. Well, maybe there was a chance, but I was too broken. So on the Fire Island chain, I unlocked Writ Secondary, and I actually never finished it. In the intervening years, the community started doing their own Iron Man challenges as well that were a lot easier. What the Guild Wars 1 community considered to be Iron Man was kind of a much more light touch. But it's fun, right? Like, I get where it came from. Guild Wars 1's a really fun idea and a fun game to do these extra challenges. And one of them's actually supported now. So, Iron Man. So, what you can do is permadeath Iron Man Reforged, if you like. My plan... Now, you guys might disagree, and you can let me know. My plan is to do a bog-standard Reforged thing where we show off and sample the new content. And secondarily, I would like to do a Milan Doom playthrough, where we try to beat Prophecies Milan Doom, which is permadeath Iron Man, and just try to beat Prophecies. They're kind of two separate series, but I think that could be fun, right? And doable. And when you play Melandru, drops are really fun. Like, if you get a rare drop, you're very excited about it. So let's be clear here, by the way. Arenanet's idea of Melandru and Iron Man is like the communities. It's easier than mine. Mine had the solo thing in it. Like, you couldn't even party. But let's see. You can't trade with other players. You can't pick up drops from other players. You can't access account storage to your Zunai Vault. You can't use skill tomes. You can't use /bonus. So no Fire Imp, by the way, which I relied on. Because I'd never had a party. You can't access the Zacian Menagerie. You can't access traders that buy and sell items from other players at market prices. You can only train skills available from the skill trainers that you can actually reach. And yeah, the game unlocks other stuff further along. If it's unlocked on the account, you got those other things. The other ones. It's only their dedicated skills. You can't add mercenaries to your hero roster. And heroes can only use their starter skills or skills the character knows or skills from a hero skill trainer. And it says you can be awesome. I love that they're playful in their patch notes. So, that's amazing. That's a very cool rule set, I think. So you can play with Alessia healing you and Sin and Menlo and so on. You can do that. But it's basically, it's like the PoE idea of solo self-founded, right? Solo self-funded. And you get a badge. And the badges stack atop of one another. So again, to go in game here, what have we got? We have this guy's just reforged. This guy, he's got a green badge. He is Iron Man reforged. And he hit level 20. And there's no skin system in this game either, so the armor he's wearing is actually armor he earned. That's elite armor from factions, I guess. Well, I don't know, actually. He could be wearing an outfit, right? A GW1 outfit, which kind of ruins it. They should have disabled outfits. They don't earn money from disabling outfits, though, so they're not going to do that. I feel like outfits shouldn't be there. Oh, did I finish my anecdote about the Destroyer gloves? I'm wearing Destroyer gloves because in those years in the interim, so few people were playing. The Destroyer cores for these became, like, ludicrously expensive. And these were, like, some of the hardest to get skins in the game, seriously. And I put the Devil Horns on to kind of match, I don't know. So there you go. So nobody here got here permadeath. But you can display them all. The Guild Wars wiki noted that Doom's Covenant, which was previously green, got turned to grey. Because Melandru's was green. Next, at the end of January, Melandru's Accord had some changes. Because they were able to pick up stuff that was assigned to other players. They can no longer select account-based titles or get their buffs from account-based titles. So that removes the lock-picking rates from Wisdom and Lucky and stuff and Treasure Hunter. So yeah, there is a very lofty goal, and I've been following the Reddit, of people who are getting Guam on Melandru. And it's like insanely hard. To get Guam on Melandru? I mean, how does that work, guys? Do you have to get like Savior of the Luxons all over again just on that one character? Do you have to get 12 million faction entirely on one character? Is that how that works? Or are the account ones locked off? Because if the account ones are locked off, I don't see how you can actually get God Walking Amongst Mere Mortals on a Melandru character. Can anyone fill me in chat? I bow to other people's expertise. What's the best you can do? If I want to be Melandru's Accord, I want to do an Iron Man Guam. How can I go about that? Can I get all the way? I did see that for the anniversary that just happened, someone was proudly posting on Reddit. They were really happy because they had got like some threshold on their Melandru Guam. Because, oh, that's my alarm. They'd hit some threshold because the Sweet Tooth stuff had been dropping, and they had done like raptor farming or Vitir farming or something the whole way through the festival. So they had earned Sweet Tooth all on their own. Okay, Discrite says you cannot do account titles at all. You have to do personal titles. Which there is enough. Oh, there is enough on personal titles. Really? Okay. You can go all the way. Character titles all on their own are enough to get you there. I see. Okay. The account titles just made it easier. You need to do absolutely everything. All 3 consumable titles. There you go. It's pretty epic. Now, just imagine... Okay, so I want to ask you guys as well. Those of you who have been following it. Has there been a world first Milan Doom God walking amongst mere mortals yet? Like I say, for my playthrough, I'm thinking of just beating prophecies. I'm not even thinking about doing the bonuses. I'm just to beat prophecies, I would be thrilled, right? And not by net decking builds and stuff, or figuring out, figuring out for myself and, puzzle solving it myself. I would be very happy for that. But like a Guam Milan Doom, you'd have to farm Sweet Tooth for yourself, but without dying. So you can't Raptor farm or Vatir farm. It's too risky. How are you going to do it? So does anyone know what the further... Has anyone done that? To get all of God walking amongst mere mortals with Zero's death. There's another question with Melandri's Accord, which is, okay, when you die, can you just cheesily log out at the last second? Or you don't even have to log out. Just double click like a map icon and can you just port to somewhere else? Buy booze from the merchant. Can you really buy everything? You still need the gold though. Oh, Legendary Defender of Ascalon. Right, you could get Legendary of Defender of Ascalon on Reforged Milan Doom. So the XP is good. That you can do the daily quests. You can do the dungeon. The new dungeon. So you're getting out... Booze and sugar can be bought from a merchant in Kaineng. Is that associated with Winds of Change? Yes, you can port, but I think logging out causes death. Okay, so cheesy logout is gonna rip it off of you. / resign. Yeah, WP, people use keybinds to auto travel. It's to say, oh, that sucks. Yeah, like on Toolbox, you can just have UI open that TPs you anywhere you want immediately. You don't even have to open the map and double click a thing or navigate to a thing. You can just hit a button. / resign doesn't count as a death. Ah, I see. So you could tap a button that resigns you. But there's still a delay, if I remember rightly. You type / resign, and then there's like a count, isn't there? There's a bit of a beat before then you fall over. Pretty sure someone on the Reddit posted a Guam Melandri's Accord and Doom's Covenant. No way. Really? So someone's already done it. The one scene at Vizsla won't break Doom, will it? No. Stuff like that got ironed out years ago for just the Survivor title track. They already figured that out for Survival, so stuff like that. And there were a few moments like that. Yeah. See, someone's saying Resign takes too long. Yeah, I wouldn't trust Resign. If you need to leave, you need to leave it instantly. Yeah, exactly. My gut would be either a logout or map traveling. And actually, I feel like map traveling might be a bit better. I don't know whether I instantly leave when I ult F4. Someone got Legendary Defender of Ascalon on day 1 on a Doom Melandri. How? Hold on, what? My memory of Eldoa is the real Eldoa, the actual OGs. They did it through death leveling, which took like months and would kill you like tens of thousands of times. Then there was the update with the daily quests, which made it doable without death leveling and much easier. But even then, they're daily, aren't they? Oh no, you can accept and abandon, can't you? Someone did that in a single day. Yeah, you just pick the right day and you just grind that one Vanguard quest. And you abandon it over and over, that's right, yeah. You have the choice. You can take the reward and do it daily, which is the least overall effort for you. Or you can collect, abandon, collect, abandon, collect, abandon, collect, abandon. I remember now. Yeah, Hamnit's quest, that's it. You can farm 24 hours to get it. It's not longer than that. Yeah, I saw a post actually about someone getting it quite quick. I've seen some amazing stuff about Pre as well before this update, about how charcoal became like the real currency, because the only way you could get charcoal was to get like an RNG drop from the char, and then you would have to use those expert pre-searing salvage kits, which also are rare as fuck. You had to use those on the drop, and then you had to get the rare material drop off of it, which was like a steel nugget or something, and then you had to salvage the steel nugget and also roll high to finally get a lump of charcoal, which made it like the ultimate currency. It was worth like 100 black dyes or something. And like the idea was to collect everything in Pre was to go for that. That was where the community was at with Pre before all this new stuff. And there were some very interesting YouTubers out there covering that sort of thing. Right, let's keep on moving. So yeah, Melandri's Accord. January. February. Oh god, yeah. Oh my god. Okay, let's just freshen up here. Oh god. Okay, well there's a whole other thing to do that we're dealing with now. Remember how it all started. This is a lot like watching Twitch or whatever, and the ads keep going. Experience it like never before. Just be happy that this isn't the taxi cab commercial, guys. Steam Deck verified. New low price. No monthly subscription. Guild Wars Reforged. Right. Skill balance. Then they started doing balance. So, again, when Reforged was announced, I was disappointed, and I was open. I was very honest. I was very candid. The skill balance to me was something that felt like something they should go for. I actually have had many proposals, and I've got a huge video script that's about 3 years old now of different things I wanted to see from skill balance. And my proposal was always this. That people in general are quite emotional, quite hysterical. They're not very objective, in my view. And this is very condescending and arrogant for me to think. But personally, I don't think people are very smart about skill balance, and they get very angry. And so it's my view that as great as skill balance would be for Guild Wars 1... it's a risk. I think that people are really, really hyper-fixated on skill balance when they're not even, and quite often when they're not even the caliber of player where it actually affects them. They're just so scared of doing a little bit less damage, or they're so scared of this or that. Case in point, 15 years of covering Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. So the only way that I would ever have recommended to Arenanet / 2 weeks to do skill balance is to do it in a risk-free way. I do not believe taking on any risk with the skill balance. And what does that mean? That means, as far as I'm concerned, nerfs to the current status quo in an attempt to rein in power creep or to change the meta that everyone understands are off the table. That has always been my view. And it's really sad to say that, because there's an idealistic a person within me. There's an idealist within me that really wants to fuck with the meta and really wants to change the status quo. And really wants to point out that the Mesmer patch in those last few weeks before Guild Wars 2 wasn't the best. And the monks deserve more, and paragons deserve more, and so on and so on and so on. And we can accomplish so much by just nerfing some outliers. It's so easy to just hit the bad stuff than to try to bump everything else up. But despite that, I don't trust people, even though ostensibly we're all in our 30s now if you're an OG Guild Wars 1 fan, and you should be a bit more rational and a bit more settled. The reality is a lot of people aren't, and they can't handle it. They go mad. They lose their minds. So just from like a business perspective, right? Everything I think that Arenanet in 2 weeks should do should be risk-free shit that engenders them support and positivity and money. So I would never consent to nerfing Mesmer. I just would, and I promise it's on that basis. It's not because I play a Mesmer. It's not because I want the game to be easy. I actually think it's a disaster. I think it's really sad how easy the game's got. I've used it. I've used all these, you know, I've used soul twisting writs, and I've used blood is power, supportive necromancer, ritualist healers, and I've used energy surge, mesmers, and you know, all the OP shit. In fact, you might be able to see. I don't know what's in my build library right now. Load from template. Look at this. I have Cry of Frustration being abused. I have Fast Casting Flesh of My Flesh being abused. I have the Lys's Aura Illusion variation. Fragway was really fun. That was off meta, but still really strong. Signet of Spirits farming. The Air Magic Ellies. Everything you see I've got here. Unyielding Aura support. These are all meta builds, right? They're all disgusting, gross, meta. VOS, Dervish. Everything I use, right? I use all the Merkway. I make no bones about it. But I think it should all be nerfed. I would love it to all be nerfed. And I would love to get Guild Wars to a place where the skills, where the power creep is in a better place and stuff. But what I'm saying to you is I have to ignore that idealist. And the realist is in the chair. At no point ever would I ever endorse that. I don't think they should nerf shit. I think instead, and this was always my proposal, that they should just buff weak stuff and underused stuff, even if they're just kind of whatever thing, buffs that won't actually dethrone anything. Just buff things that are a little underused and have fun. Those are risk-free areas to play. They won't get people annoyed that they just spent millions on Prodigy insignias and now Mesmer's not good. And I just spent loads on my 2020 set and now it's not good. And blah, blah, blah. You know, they sidestep all those issues. So, Reforged was announced and there was no balance and I was a bit disappointed. They added a new mode in January, and in February, we have 2 updates today. One is a skill update. And the other is that we're going to start rolling out the Steam-based in-game store. The first is a special surprise. And boy, it was. As some of you know, as a studio, we've avoided skill balance updates because doing a good job takes a lot of time, a lot of concentration, and it takes a lot of knowledge of the complete database of skills. And let's all be honest, guys, the devs are washed. I mean, let's be honest, a lot of the Guild Wars 2 devs are washed, even about Guild Wars 2 specific topics, let alone Guild Wars 1, a game that they hadn't been supporting for years. Yes, when you get really nerdy and you sit there and you play it for like 2 months and you hyperfixate on it for 2 months, you can have a pretty good idea of the PvE meta and what's going on and what can be fixed. But the devs aren't in that place. They're playing other games. They're human beings. They're not robots. And they're feeling scared of touching it, right? Especially if their expertise is back-end engine systems and stuff. You weren't going to see this when it was just SCW and only 10% of his time could be on Guild Wars 1. But with a whole team, people that are actually looking at it and playing it again, now they're not so washed. Turns out a former staff member, Isaiah Cartwright, Izzy, who was famed for being the balance guy back in the day, who I met at a couple of press meetings, by the way. I actually have an actual wooden potato in a drawer somewhere. It used to be on my desk, it's not anymore. It's actually, I'll tell you what, it's in a drawer covered in soot and filth and grime from a fire. So, sorry about that. I don't even know how I'd clean it. But basically, when he met me, he gave me this thing and he said, hey, my kid used to hear me listening to your videos, like, at work. And one day we were at the beach and my kid found this driftwood and said, oh, it's a wooden potato. And I was just, like, mind blown. I was like, what the fuck? First of all, the idea he was even watching anything, let alone that his kids would know about it, let alone that would come up at the beach, let alone that he'd hold on to it, let alone years later he'd actually meet me and then give it to me. But it's in a drawer. So anyway, he rises from the ashes here. He still has all the knowledge. I doubt that, by the way. There's no fucking way. I don't care how much of an expert he was or was not, depending on your opinion. Back in the day, there's no way that you can take a 10, 20-year break from a game and still remember everything. I guarantee you that man has looked at a bunch of skills and been like, what? I don't remember this. I guarantee you. I have covered this game persistently for all those years, and even I forget a fuck ton of the Guild Wars 1 skills. Anyway, they found Izzy. He has all the knowledge in his head to make balance changes, and on his own initiative, he volunteered to do a balance pass. And they trust him. Our strategy, now here it is. I just told you guys what my advocacy always was, what my strategy wanted them to do. Almost said dictated. I'm not that self-aggrandizing. Our strategy was to data mine the least popular skills and improve many of them, which increases the number of viable skill options. That way, the main meta of the game remains the same, well, mostly. And the net effect is that the game has more useful skills. Richard Fogey partnered on this update to help roll it out. Here are the details. He's another ex-Guild Wars 1 dev that dropped off the face of the planet, but now that they're pushing Guild Wars 1 again. I love this, right? Do you know how many fucking sour-faced, bitter, cynical wank stains there are amongst the Guild Wars 2 population that love to go, they're not fans. There's no real fans left. There's no real Guild Wars fans at the studio anymore. All the original devs are gone. None of them are experts anymore. Nobody's really there. But look at this. As soon as some actual development happens with Guild Wars 1, these people are coming back to this game because they're fans. Because this is their baby. Because they like it as much as you, dear viewer, do. Whoever this is watching me right now, whether you made it live or you're watching this VOD, right? Here you are, interested in a 20-year-old game because you're a fan of it, because you have nostalgia for it and it has a special place in your heart. They fucking do too, and they're still around. And they're actually working on the goddamn thing. I talked about the live team earlier. I was told in chat earlier, as I was starting this up, apparently there was news this week that Lindsay Murdoch, who you guys may know as a name from the Guild Wars, many years of the Guild Wars 2 era. I think she left Arenanet maybe 2021 or something. You know, used to have posts on Reddit about how the collectible storage was going to get reorganized and stuff, but was also a big Guild Wars 1 name and was on the live team doing the Guild Wars 1 Beyond stuff, is also back now working on this stuff. Like, these people are not gone, all right? And they're not like a new generation that doesn't know what they're doing either. I mean, look, there's kind of a logical fallacy there. I'm going to just be honest. Just because Izzy was a balanced dev years ago doesn't mean he knows what he's doing now, right? It still takes a lot of homework, and it takes doing the refresher courses, and it takes the dedication, right? But the point is that these are fans that have come back that will do that, right? So anyway, that's just me being snobby about the salty people that you cannot get rid of. So anyway, there you go. Then I gave you a little screenshot. This is the launcher now. I put that in there as a nice little break. Oh, yeah, okay. So that was... So on February 28th, they... no, sorry. On February 5th, they did the balance pass. Now, I am going to show you guys this in a different way. I'm going to do something that you very rarely see me do on stream. Should we go to a different place? Let's just keep going around obscure outposts here. See, that means this is gameplay, not... That's what makes this a Let's Play, right? Oh my god, the ambient noise. Nice. Wow. I'll turn it down slightly. Holy shit, it's loud here. As long as that's not too loud for my voice and you guys in live chat tell me it's alright, then that's fine. You very rarely see me do this in OBS. I am going to hook up a browser source here. I've got it all prepped and ready to go. Oh, shit. I didn't set the other one up. Oh, no. I think I did. No, I don't think I did. Well, whatever. Oh, no, I did. I know how to do this job. Okay, there you go. Let's put this in the center of the screen. This is the random out-of-nowhere skill balance update. How insane is this? So this is not a screenshot. I'm using the browser sources so I can scroll around and see things. This is a lot, guys. I don't even know where to begin, really. I don't really know how to... Like, I can't explain to you every skill on every change. Look at this shit. This is like a proper skill update. The only thing that they missed with this, when the live team used to do, and that's effectively what 2 weeks have become, right? A live team. When they used to do balance, they like themed it. It was like based on this profession or this, and there would be like dev notes, like their intent, their ideas. There's none of that commentary here, really. I mean, a lot of it is really self-explanatory. But there's just like buffs for everything. Increased adrenaline gain, or I meant to do that. And they're all like dodgy skills that no one was using. What all this is to say, guys, they handled this exactly how I advocated for them to handle this. Or how I want. What I'm trying to say is how I wanted it to be advocated for. That's how I wanted it to be done. They didn't do anything high risk. They've just increased viability of a bunch of other skills. And I mean loads of other skills. So what are some highlights that sprung out to me? Okay, the thing that I think about with all of this, you guys might think, well, I'm not going to use many of these anyway. Okay. I think there's a mistake. I think most people will read this and they'll look at it from the perspective of, oh, I can make new builds. No. Think of it in terms of the fact that in Guild Wars 1, all your enemies are using these as well. So what does that mean? So, for example, when I'm exploring the Echovaled Forest, there are warden patrols wandering around. And what do those wardens of the spring and the rangers and the seasons do, right? They drop spirits of brambles. The Echovaled Forest is a cool place to explore because you're constantly under the effects of brambles because they're putting these spirits around. So now Arenanet have buffed brambles. The vibe in the Echovaled Forest, if you do a new playthrough, it has more meaning mechanically. It feels more special and different, right? Because Brambles is lasting longer and has a bigger range or does more damage, right? Speaking of which, by the way, look, Famine. They doubled the damage on Famine. I don't know if that brought Famine farming back. But you should think about with all of this. You know, when I look at, like, Rage of the Natuka, you should be thinking about the actual Natuka animals out there in Nightfall that now are going to be a bit more deadly, a bit more dangerous, a bit more interesting as you navigate trying to get your Doom's Covenant or whatever. And yes, Doom's Accord. What's it called? Melanju's Covenant? Doom's Accord? Doom's Covenant? Melanju's Accord? Now, this isn't just opting into Reforged mode to get this. This is game-wide. But they've gone for it, and I'm really happy with this. And to me, this just means, like, skill changes. And, like, some of these skills you'll look at, and you cannot associate them with anything but a certain area of the world or a certain enemy. And by the way, yeah, nature rituals, they all cast faster. Down from 5 to 3, which I'm very happy with, by the way. I was scared that they put it to, like, quarter of a second, which totally kills the idea. They should be long casts. Ignore all those people on Reddit. They're like, no, it's still unusable. No. Keep them as long casts. They've got to be a distinct skill bucket, all right? Have them with long casts. That's what differentiates them from the fucking ritualist spirits. I was already happy enough with them with the binding rituals changes. I believe in nature rituals with long casts, but what I also believe is in bigger ranges. Which is what they did. Range increased, damage increased, frozen soil. That stops you rezzing, guys. That's a really cool one. And will be more interesting with enemies now. Here's a very brief dev note. Monk skills are so good, we need to buff other elites to see other play. And so you might be wondering, okay, this was in February. We're now in May. Have they missed anything? Have they made such a wild buff that something had to get nerfed again? Have they gone crazy? I hear you ask. I think 2 skills have been nerfed back down. 2. I think one was a swordsmanship skill that added days, and they cut the damage on it because they felt it was over the line. Because a lot of this is affecting PvP as well. And another one was... I think it was a signet that did holy damage. Somewhere. But this shit's cool, especially for hard mode, where all enemies have elite skills, right? So like when I see Mark of Protection, don't Stone Summit use that? A lot of monk skills have gone from like annoying 1 second clunky cast to quarter, which I'm fine with when it comes to especially supportive spells. It's different when we're talking about nature rituals. Mesmer got less, but Mesmer did have some weird things. The whole fragility build, by the way, they buffed hypochondria. It's now a quarter of a second activation. Doesn't really matter that much because you were a Mesmer already and you had fast casting already or whatever. Lower energy on some of them, like feedback, fever dreams. Shared burden is now the area rather than nearby, which is fucking awesome, by the way. Genuinely, that's like hero worthy to me. I love shared burden. Even before the patch, I loved shared burden. Now it's in the area. That's really good. Wait, is that... No, that's not nerf, is it? In the area is bigger than nearby. I actually forget the order of... I'm pretty sure... what does it go? Adjacent, in the area, nearby, earshot, compass. Or spirit, I guess. And then maybe compass after that. Jagged Bones got a good buff. They doubled its duration, so it's just way more usable. And they reduced the recharge time. I think I saw someone did a video with playing with Jagged Bones. Jagged Bones wasn't even that bad of a skill, frankly. Some of the really techie ones are stronger, like Ulcerous Lungs is just about denying shouts. Whenever someone uses a shout, they get bled, but frankly, it doesn't really matter much. But again, that makes me think of the Awakened. The Awakened use Ulcerous Lungs on you. Energy Blast was a funny one. This does damage the more energy you have. But it cost 10, so it was always capped. Now it only costs 5. I don't know whether it counted the maths before spend or post spend. Now, one of the things you'll notice is they haven't necessarily changed the functionality of the skills or the way that the AI uses the skills. And sometimes, especially with the AI, that was the only thing holding them back. Well, we'll put a pin in that. Look at this. A lot of the unusable wards got buffs. Some of the fancy assassin elites. Like Dark Apostasy was just way too... Hold on, that says reduce triggered energy by 1. I don't know. See, so some of them aren't that amazing. Now, listen, in chat, guys, if you have any exciting thoughts about some of the buffs they did, let me know. I'm just trying to give my highlights here now, but we would be here. You think this is a long preamble with 2 hours? This would be even longer to truly go through and cover all of these. I'm very curious to see what PVX Wiki's been looking like lately. There was a big one with the spirits later, which was a bit of a functionality change. I actually went through and read all of these, but now I'm sort of blanking on which ones I want to pick at. I had like at least one from every class that I thought was really interesting. Paragon has nice ones. I always like the idea of them doing like a big a battery patch. I like the idea of them codifying the idea of a battery as a part of the PvE meta. So you would have like a battery character in your comp. Like we all just use BIP at the moment, right? And Paragon has a lot of skills that would be good for that. And some of them have been buffed quite well here. Energizing Finale. This is obviously a refrain, so it bounces every time a shout ends. Oh no, but it doesn't refresh. What's the one that refreshes? Is it Leader's Zeal? They added just like a couple of seconds, and it makes it much more maintainable. And some of the buffs are really big. Like, you look at the number, and it's like, okay, we've gone from 15 energy to 5 type shit. Oh yeah, Angelic Protection. The damage thresholds come down, so it procs more regularly. Okay, so then there was 60-60s. There was an exploit that could give you 60-60s through the red weapons in PvP. And they fixed that, which for the PvPers they will be very happy with. And then in a subsequent patch, they removed those completely, the ones that were there. Steam Wallet stuff, I'm going to skip reading. The wiki noted there were some other changes. Yeah, Word of Censure was a weird one. Up with a monk. Target foe takes a bomber damage. If they were below half health, then you can't spam it anymore, basically. But they increased the threshold from 33 to 50, so they got more damage, but they increased it. And then at the bottom here, it said that they kind of messed it up, and then it got fixed. But anyway, there you go. So that was the balance patch itself. And when this happened, it totally blew my mind. I thought, holy crap. And this, I want to see more of this. In many ways, guys, this is more exciting to me than anything else. When we talk about Reforged and this Let's Play and what we're doing and everything, you gotta remember, if all the skills are getting revitalized, the enemies we're fighting, it's just fun across the whole game. Really, really, really cool. So following that, what do we have? A new quest was then added, which we'll be playing. The start mission button got tweaked. And you can also add Reforged mode for Nightfall and Factions characters, which doesn't really have any content for you there yet, but what it means is when you go back to Prophecies, you can play this stuff. So I haven't actually seen this yet. So if we go to a mission outpost now, we can get away from the cicadas. Let's say the Nalani Academy. It used to say enter mission on the party menu. Guys, remember that? But that wasn't actually very good for the new player experience. It was sort of buried. And obviously in the later campaigns, they ended up just having NPCs you speak to and you start the mission from the actual NPC, right? Like Danon should really let us in. So, and it was a real sticky point for people coming to Guild Wars 1. It was like, wait, how do I do this? What's going on? So they made it, and there's a new option under General here. You can enable the Legacy button where it's there. That's how it used to be. Or you can have it as its own dedicated button up here now. So new players won't miss it because it's right there in the center of their screen. And you have the interface thing there. Oh, by the way, and we have a gamepad tab here. Enable dynamic targeting and stuff. Look, if I can get a controller, we'll look at these. They added these things called the Godly Accoutrement Shrines. New shrines are present in major cities that allow you to make changes to your covenants after character creation. So if you have Doom's Covenant, you can willingly abandon it. And if you've never died, you can opt in. If you started with Melange's Accord, you can abandon it. But if you choose to do that, you'll never be able to get it back. And you can also toggle in and out of Reforged. So let's go have a look at that. And then they have an important note about their philosophies for Reforged. We're getting near the end of the preamble now, guys. We're nearly there. So let's go to Lion's Arch and try to find the accoutrement. How do you like my French, guys? It's very good, isn't it? Oh, it's over there in yellow. Nice. What the heck is Reforged mode? I'm being asked in chat. We did explain it just a minute ago, but don't worry, I will again when we get there. Oh, cool. It has like 3 symbols on it. 1 for each thing. Doesn't that sort of suggest that they're not adding any more? Like, where's the space for the other symbols? Maybe they will. At this shrine, you may alter your covenants with the various gods, as well as toggle Reforged mode. Oh, it still says Reforged is an alpha on this, even though in the patch notes they're currently saying it's beta. An early preview of Reforged mode with tuning and content changes for Guild Wars Prophecies. This includes experimental tweaks that are still under consideration. We're sharing with the community for initial feedback. Man, I like the way they're talking here. It really seems like it's a long-term thing. My biggest fear is that 2 weeks are going to be gone again in a few months. What I want to think is they're sticking about, and this feels like they are. Okay, so if I click myself right now, I'm a Grandmaster Treasure Hunter, which is my title of choice, not Graham. I always like Grandmaster Treasure Hunter because it was like, I picked that instead of the easier faction things years ago. But okay, so now I click Reforge and I get my little red shield. And I can disable it and I lose my little red shield. As for the other ones, Doom's Covenant. This character has already died and cannot enter a covenant with Doom. The old court of death does not hold court with those that have fallen. Nice, Flavor. And Melanju says, take only what you can carry on yourself. Become only what you can make of yourself. You'll be unable to trade with other players. Access account storage or hire mercenary heroes. The goddess of nature shall prevail. Melanju's accord can only be entered during character creation. Do you guys think they'll do accords for the other gods? Or what do you speculate they will be? What is Balthazar's accoutrement? Balthazar's thing should be like a bloodlust mode, where if you don't score a kill every 90 seconds or some shit, while in explorable areas and missions. Not in town. In town, you're fine. But while you're actually out in the world, you have to get a kill every X seconds. Otherwise, you lose it. Something like that. I don't know. Balthazar's solo mode. No heroes, no henchmen. See, that's what I considered to be Iron Man. But maybe. Solo because he goes off on his own in Guild Wars 2? Maybe. Cormier's one is you go AFK and take credit for your team. Yeah, it should be called Cormier's Leech or something. Cormier, actually, that would be very meta and very tongue-in-cheek. But you actually could do a leeching mode where you're not allowed to play... Oh my god, they could do it. They wouldn't call it Cormier's Leeching. They wouldn't theme it about Cormier's Leeching. They would theme it about being a commander, right? What it would be, right, is you can never play with people. You can only play with heroes and henchmen. And you can never attack. And you can never use skills. The entire playthrough is you're a commander. And you're commanding your sun spears. It's hero battles or whatever. But for the entire game. And yeah, you're a leech. You're taking credit for what everyone else is doing, but it's that heroes vibe, isn't it? It's all about playing an RTS rather than an RPG. Exactly. There you go. Shuburito's got it. RTS mode. And can I just remind you guys that Toolbox, I don't know whether it still does, but Toolbox had a camera thing where you could tilt the camera directly above and zoom out really far, and it kind of did feel like an RTS. I've always thought that this game kind of mapped onto that in some fun ways. I don't know whether the gameplay would really be that cool. It would probably be really boring, but I mean, there's keybinds for hero controls and stuff. It's not that different, to be honest, than just running around with a meta hero team, but just, you know, being a bit slower because you're not doing anything. I don't know. I think that sounds like a neater idea than it would be to play. But I do think it matches perfectly to Cormier. I would give... if Cormier is going to be anything, it's going to be that. As for the others, I don't know. Dwayna, no healing? Only healing? Pacifist? Do you think they could do a passive... How would that work? That would be like a runner mode, right? How would a pacifist mode work? That would take a bit more elbow grease from 2 weeks. They would have to actually get in there and modify instances, just as the instances had to be modified for the Survivor title. They would have to do something. But what do you do when, like, the staple scenario arises where there's a boss that you have to kill at the end of an instance? How does that work? Are you only allowed to kill... Is it pacifist mode, but it's like essential kills only? Dwayna would probably be Guild Wars 1 baby mode, infantile mode. What, just make the game really easy? Maybe, yeah. And I don't think they'd be opposed to that either, especially if it means that the demo broadens, they can sell the game to more people. If I'm going to be playing it on my Steam frame, I don't want any hardcore gameplay, so yeah, maybe I play it on Dwayna mode. Maybe they release Dwayna mode with a Steam frame. I would be so down for that, just to be immersed interior in stereo 3D. Look, and if you guys... I know you lot don't believe me, alright? But I'm telling you... Stereo 3D for just even play like a side-scrolling game. See what the other studios do with their ports for the frame, where they add actual stereo. You see what they do, and you'll be surprised how good it looks and how playable these games are. Who else is there? Who are we missing? Lissa. Yeah, it depends how much work they want to put in. Lissa to me says chaos, and Lissa is like randomizer, right? And when we talk about Guild Wars randomizers, there's a lot of things that can happen there. All right, we all know what, and that's like infinite content. If they can get a good randomizer mode, that's what Lissa should be. Do we randomize the player skills? Do we randomize henchman skills? Do we randomize henchmen altogether? Do we randomize enemy skills? Do we randomize enemies altogether? Do we randomize the doors that you move out of? Like you leave Lion's Arch and you're suddenly at Sanctum K? You know, like the way that some Zelda randomizers work and shit. If you're going to open Pandora's box, if you're going to open Lissa's box, if you're going to open the randomizer box, there's a world of shit they can do. That is like so obvious and so beautiful and so brilliant. And yeah, Lissa is like right there. They could add 20 versions of Lissa's Accord. A Nuzlocke. See, to me, Melandra would be a Nuzlocke. I mean, fuck, man. Talking about Doom, there could be an Ultra Doom where neither you can die nor any member of your party can die. That's a Nuzlocke, right? I've got to get Reyna. Who's the shittest henchman? Let's go have a look. Who's like a complete noob trap henchman? As far as I remember. By the way, I consider this the Let's Play already. Alright, I consider us in it. I know it's the preamble. My throat is actually sore, and we've still got a good amount to talk about. Who's the biggest? It's Stefan, right? You've got to get Stefan. He cannot die, or you lose Doom's Ultra Accord. Right? Ultra Doom, the actual hardcore rules. Ultra Doom is, okay, Stefan can die and you don't lose the badge, don't worry, but you can never recruit Stefan again if he dies, right? He can die and you can use resurrection skills on him as well. So those areas of the buildcraft aren't removed either. They're still functionally in play. It's still important to keep a resurrection signet or whatever, okay, because you might need it. But once Stefan is detected as having died in any mission, that's it. You can't recruit him anymore. Maybe you can't recruit him for just that mission, or maybe just that outpost. I don't know, however they do it. That would be like a Nuzlocke. And that would actually be quite interesting when you get to, say, factions where... let's go to Kaineng, for example. And let's go... Where is it at its absolute most insane? Martu Keep's pretty heavy, isn't it? Like, you've got all these henchmen to pick from. So, like, okay, whoopsie, Loshar's dead, but we still have Panaku and... So, yeah. That's Lissa. And have we forgotten anyone? Balthazar, I don't know. It's a weird one, Balthazar. Because my idea of a Bloodlust mode is a bit lame, isn't it? Unless, yeah, they just say, okay, some of these are easier, and Balthazar is like, you're going to increasingly do more damage, and the enemies are going to be increasingly doing more damage, so go fast, or something. Super speed, rage mode, battle mode, war mode, or some shit. I don't know. Yeah, and the same goes for your heroes as well. If your hero dies, the hero gets locked away. What's Duskright's idea? When he dies, he comes back as a ghost. Rurik's a permanent henchman. He runs away. He dies, and he comes back as a ghost. I mean, look, if they did a Grenth... What Grenth, by the way? We've got Doom, but what's wrong with Grenth? By the way, since we've done Doom, why don't we do any of the other guys? What about Menzies mode? Or Mengus. Sorry, Mengus mode. Yeah, what about a Grenth mode? Could be like an easy mode where if someone dies, they come back as a ghost or something. I don't know. Oh, enemies revive. Grenth allows no resurrection at all. Well, no, the Doom allows. Grenth famously allows it. That's the distinction between them. I don't know. Not that they have to get that petty about lore, but you know. All right. Anyway, come on. We got to read this before my voice totally fails me. So there you go. You got the shrines. There's some new quest. Now, that new quest, I think, leads you to getting a new hero. We're going to be playing that. A new NPC, Gilderoy Lafleur, is available in pre-searing. He gives you total makeovers. Oh, there you go. That was it. Signet of Mystic Wrath. They nerfed it back down, I think. Because it was too strong. Or something. And maybe consumed soul. I don't know. Contrary to the update notes, it was initially possible to unlock Devonna in Lion's Arch, even if you weren't a Reforged mode character. This was fixed in another update a few hours later. Yeah, I saw that on Reddit. I saw the Guild Wars 1 players talking about, whoa, guys, what the hell? Devonna's available as a hero before the patch was official. She had, like, snuck in. And I believe the other hero that's been added, Althea, it's the same. Althea's quite cool, by the way, because she's the first ghost hero. Anyway, yeah, so if I want my old characters to get Devonna, I can't, right? Because she's only in pre-searing. So I'm just locked out of that forever, is that right? But I can get them Althea by going to the Shrine of Accoutrement, collecting the Accord, the Reforged mode, sorry, and then just going to pick it up. Is that right? I don't know. Anyway, server maintenance build. Anniversary celebration triggered prematurely. So now we're to the 21st anniversary. Guild Wars will now always run from the executable directory it was started in rather than the installed, because it helps people with an Arenanet login but a Steam install. Fixed a bug where, and by the way, I think there were loads of bugs with Devonna, where she didn't have the right armor level or the right amount of like pips of regeneration, or oh no, I think Althea had that. She was supposed to be a new Mesmer hero, which is really handy for meta building, by the way. But I think she was a warrior, or she had like warrior AI. There was a lot of weird stuff about the heroes. Disable the highlight effect for the new starter mission button. Stopped it capturing mouse clicks even when it's supposed to be disabled. April 1st. Today, we're in May, guys. So this is just last month. We're nearly there. Today we're releasing a significant build on April 1st. In many places around the world today, it's celebrated as April Fool's Day, but we don't have any fake notes, though there are some April Fool's Day related features. A new dungeon has come to pre-searing. To reach the dungeon, so this dungeon had been like leaked out in various ways. And I didn't really know how to talk about it before because I didn't know what the community was supposed to know and all that. So I was actually very cagey and hands-off discussing this if you were watching my other content. Not to mention, my life was a shambles at this point. This was right as the fire had happened. So last month, a new dungeon came in. They're actually adding full-blown new dungeons. Previously, they were only in Eye of the North. I have never seen any gameplay footage of this. I have never been into this dungeon. I don't know how it starts. I don't know what the story is like. Crazy. They're adding new content to pre. It's a pre-searing dungeon. And it was leaked out by data miners because it was called like Eden Dungeon or something. And internally they call pre-Eden. So anyway, to reach the dungeon, make sure you're playing in Reforged. Complete this new quest. Go through the new Pyken Square. Talk to Mullany. And the dungeon's repeatable once you've beaten it. And then they say a post-searing version will be available. And they say Devonna is a hero. Devonna can now be unlocked as a hero for Reforged mode. Oh, there you go. It says it. I can get her in LA. Well, shit. Let's do that. Where is she in LA? So a big fan favorite idea that we've been talking about for a long time. And in fact, guys, if you go back to my 20th anniversary coverage, I have a video on my channel called Dreams of a Guild Wars Remaster or Dreams of a Guild Wars Update or something. where one of the things I proposed was new heroes, specifically because we don't quite have enough mesmers and people are relying on mercenaries and stuff. But that's a money spinner for Arenanet, so I wasn't sure if they'd ever do it. And they have, so hats off to them for that. But I always said it would be really fucking cool if the iconic 5 became heroes, right? Divonna, Menlo, Aiden, Sin, and then Eve. There was no Mesmer. There's no Mesmer of those 5, and in fact, of the 5, Eve barely gets any story and is kind of tacked on at the end, you can see. But those guys, they went through all the adventures, they did the whole story, they played the game, but they were only ever henchmen. They were not heroes. So it was always a fan favorite idea to add those characters as heroes. And look at what's happened now with Reforged. They've done it. Here we go. The first little bit of actual content. You're seeing it now. Divonna. And damn, she's looking high res. She's a new NPC that's been added to LA in 2026. Can you fucking believe it? 1 month ago. I've come to Lion's Arch. Should we do the girly voices? In search of a hero bearing the mark of the Forge. Speak with me again if you'd like to come across such a badge. To recruit Divonna, I need to be in Reforged mode. Isn't this a bit arbitrary, forcing me to toggle in? So yeah, I feel fairly confident they'll probably go through all of them. And as for filling in the Mesmer, well, they've filled that. They've picked Althea for the Mesmer. Reforged mode. So the question is, who will be next? Will it be Menlo? Will it be Sin? What I suggest 2 weeks does, what I think would be really cool, is they should do a balance patch themed around a class and have that hero come in at the same time. So, for example, if you're going to do an Ellie patch, give people Sin at the same time. So people are like, fuck, sweet, we've got Sin, and look, now we can have another Ellie, and we can theory craft some Ellie comp that will rival E-Surgeway. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm Divonna, a warrior of Ascalon. You? Yes, I've heard of you. Your reputation precedes you. I don't like this dialogue. She should know me. How many quests have I done with you, Divonna? In fact, when I arrived in Lion's Arch, I was hoping our paths might cross. I would ask something of you. I mean, for a new player, this actually kind of does work as dialogue. I would ask something of you. Let us form an alliance. I hail from a place torn asunder by violence and war. That is why I fight all the more vigorously for a just world. But don't take my word for it, friend. I prefer to let my hammer do the talking. Very well, we should travel together. Talk with her again. Oh, there's not an actual quest on it. A battle is often won or lost before the first weapon is drawn. However, a companionship is forged like hot iron upon the anvil, blow by blow, according to patience and intention. I look forward to what we can achieve together. Divonna joins our party. The honor-bound, fiercely loyal Divonna hails from Ascalon, following in the footsteps of her father, an infamous warrior. She believes that a tactical approach to battle is just as important as how hard one can swing a hammer. I find it's interesting they mention her father there. Her father is Mordecai, who basically only exists in obscure lore about the Guild Wars. And we're currently in a climate, by the way, where we're all wondering what Arenanet's next major project is going to be. What is Project Tyria? Is it Guild Wars 3? Is it a prequel? I wonder if it is. And we'll see. That's like a little Reforged connection to whatever's coming next for the franchise. I wonder. Or they just put it there because that's how she's described in the manual. Your pick. Or they're adding her for Utopia. Yeah, Mordecai was going to be in Utopia, right? The scrap campaign. That's true. So I have a new hero now. I have a 4th warrior, believe it or not. She's level 5. I would have to level her up. Does she have any alternate armor? I don't think so. Is she bugged and got weird stats? I don't know. What's her default build? She's a hammer warrior with Earthshaker. Okay. It's so cool to think that did they just set this up, or did they net deck her henchman build from the end of Eye of the North? I wonder. What else does that mean? On a Melandum character, you unlock a bunch of skills there really quickly. Or just on a Melandum character, you unlock a bunch of skills. This is cool. I got work to do. Unironically, I love setting up their alt armors, like Gwen's fancy armor there and stuff. So if they end up doing that for Devonna, that would be really interesting to see what a new outfit for her would be. And in fact, if they do that, they should totally update the key art for Guild Wars Reforged that features Devonna to show the new version of her in the new clothes. Like, that person looks fucking awesome as well, by the way. I love that. Oh, we're back to Guild Wars 1, guys, where things weren't too shiny. I know I say that as wearing two shiny things right now, but, you know. Right, okay. Continuing on. That was the start of April. A new graphic setting is available called Nostalgia Mode. It emulates an old school CRT monitor at 600 by 800 resolution. Using Nostalgia Mode for April Fools, on April Fools also changes the login screen to say Guild Wars Deforged, not Reforged. Nostalgia is forever, but the Deforged sign is not. So let's see what this is like. And I already accidentally turned it on. Nostalgia Mode. Where was it? It was graphics. It was under SSAO, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh my god, man. Oh, we're going to have to lower the UI for this. Small. Oh my god, it's playable. It's actually playable. Oh my god, and I love that Liz is sitting slightly outside of the frame now. Dude. Oh, my health and energy bars are a bit... It's amazing how quickly my eyes are getting used to this. Let's turn off the party bar here. Shit, he wasn't Hex, so we missed the prop. And yeah, I like Chaos Storm. It's not the greatest skill, but it's nice, cheap energy, and it's fun. And I kind of like the scatter in a lot of situations. Sometimes it's annoying and it slows you down, but sometimes it's quite good that the AI pisses about scattering, doing nothing. Let's get our air of superiority on. A little interrupt for the Emulate there. Man, I'm totally used to this. My eyes are 100% used to this now. Should we do a Nostalgia Mode Melandum? Has anyone done that yet? What do you think, guys? Should we play Reforged entirely in Nostalgia Mode? Go, I've started a poll. Holy shit. Because I seriously would have first been playing Guild Wars on a CRT like this. I love the little reflection in the frame of the screen there, like that. You see that? Look, back in my day, we didn't have Philips Hue. We had this. Yes, for the lols, but for real, no. But I need something that means I stand out, you know? How can we be a hipster if we don't do this? You tried to do this for old TV video games to filters? Yeah, in the emulation scene, like if you emulate old Sonic games and stuff, people are always big about that. Oh, you've got to put the CRT scan lines on. It doesn't look real. It doesn't look good enough. No, I'm not a CRT purist. I don't care for that. I don't think it looks that good. I think it's madness. My only concern with this is the UI is a bit cramped, but I guess that's a part of the charm. This is how it'll look on our Steam frame anyway. Oh god. Fuck, how do I... Alright, there we go. I love the idea of someone turning Nostalgia Mode on for fun, logging out, forgetting about it, coming back a couple of years later and being like, oh my god, what is this? And not knowing how to fix it. Ask Arenanet to make you a playable Asuran character, and no one can play Asura until after you get Guam. Dude, I would be down for that. What human wouldn't say that? No, I'm not down for that, because single people shouldn't get privileges like that. But that's kind of cool, yeah. All right. Would Steam Frame be Cormier mode because you'd be blindfolded? Maybe, maybe. Yeah, guys, I know that says 54% yes, but I think you're going to get overruled. I don't think I'm going to do that. All right. This ain't no simple majority referenda, all right? I'm not an idiot. I'm not David Cameron, okay? I'm going to require at least 80%. And in that way, I deal with my parties infighting without destroying the country. Hey, how about that? How about that? Do you know what I learned the other day? A little bit UK politics, just for 1 second, because I didn't realise this, right? Once upon a time, the Liberal Democrats actually had a chance of getting into office. And one of the reasons was because they had very, very, very fucking publicly pledged to us, the younger generation, for free tuition. They were going to abolish tuition fees, right? But then when the general election happened, they never fully got into power. They got jointly into power with the Conservatives. And what happened instead was tuition fees for university tripled. They went from $3,000 a year to $9,000 a year, right? And so there's a whole generation, my generation really, who feel completely betrayed by that. Because the Lib Dems did the complete reverse of what they were supposed to, right? Now, for years, I've sort of given the Lib Dems the benefit of the doubt on that because I've thought, well, look, they were in a coalition. They didn't have control. They had to fucking jointly rule with those old pricks, the Conservatives. So I was like, of course, they didn't get to push their free tuition through. So I was kind of forgiving of it, and I thought people were just in a stink for for no reason. I actually learned, though, just a couple of months ago, that that's not true. That the Lib Dems in their coalition had 100% veto power. They had a big enough block that they could have completely vetoed any tuition hike at all. Any. There is no reason on this great green earth that tuition fees had to triple. The Lib Dems only got into Parliament because of that pledge, largely. Because of people like me who voted for them for that. And they had the ability to block the Conservatives on the tuition hike. But they specifically didn't block the Conservatives. And that's why people are pissed off. Because they had the choice and they chose not to. Nick Clegg, who was the leader of the Lib Dem side, chose not to. Now I hear you're wondering, WP, I'm so interested. Why are you telling me this story now? Because a couple of months ago I learned this, and I was like, what the fuck? Why did Nick Clegg do that? Why did Nick Clegg give that up? Just block him. And so it turns out he made a trade. He traded the tuition fees for something else that the Liberal Democrats were incredibly keen for. They said to the Conservatives, okay, we'll give you the tuition fees. We'll betray our own audience base. We will give you the tuition fees in exchange for something. It was a very specific trade that they made. The trade he made was for a referendum. It was for the alternative vote referendum. It was to break first past the post. Which, okay, fair enough, Nick. Fair enough. As much as I'm one of the people you fucked over, I believe that first past the post is the true devil of modern politics, and you probably did the right thing. I would probably have made that trade too. In the bigger picture, first past the post is more damaging than the tuition fees. You can fight the tuition fees later. So they traded the tuition hike for a referendum, for the ability to go to the UK public and to say to them, hey, do you want to move on from first past the post? He made that trade. Okay, so fair enough, Nick. But can I just say, then what happened? You guys want to talk about being in the bad timeline with Harambe dying and all that, right? Look at what happened with UK politics immediately after this. I got fucked over there with the tuition fees, right? Following that, we get the referendum, the alternative vote referendum, and what happens? All those pricks from the Conservatives and from Labour who are scared of the alternative vote because it threatens their power, it's not good for democracy, it's not good for the state, it's not good for the voice of the little man, right? They all fund and push and lobby against the vote. They manipulate all the morons out in the electorate. That's you guys listening, you're the morons in the electorate, right? Oh no! It's going to cost money! Money that should be given to babies! Money that should be given to pensioners! Oh, what about the money? So the vote goes out and the vote gets lost. Nick trades away the tuition fee for the vote and the vote doesn't even go our way. It gets fucking bodied because of the morons in the electorate and the dickheads that lobbied against it. So what happens? We get nothing. But wait, there's more. David Cameron, genius that he is, says, hey, that was pretty good, that referendum thing. I got something for nothing. I got my tuition fee hike, and I didn't even have to pay for it, because I put a referendum out, and the morons out there voted, and there you go, that's it. So now David Cameron is sitting there thinking, oh, I like referendums. Oh, look at my own party, a bunch of dickheads that can't agree about Europe. Oh, I managed to win over Nick Clegg and those stupid Lib Dems. By the way, in the vote, a lot of people voted against AV, specifically just because they were annoyed with the Lib Dems. Because they saw that as Nick's thing, and they were annoyed about Nick making the trade. So the irony there is, they fucked the country over, and they fucked the elimination of first past the post over. Specifically, like, what? That is cutting your nose off to spite your face. But that's what people did. So now David Cameron's like, oh, I like referendums. Oh, and so then that's why then he moved on with the Brexit referendum, which also fucked us over and also went the wrong way. And oh dear, and can I just remind you, David Cameron wasn't a complete moron. He was at least a Remainer, right? But no, now he gets kicked out. The second he does the vote, it doesn't work. Oh dear, I fucked the country. Sorry, I'm not the man for the job anymore. I've got to leave. What a fucking shit show that is. What a catastrophe that is. And it all goes directly back to me voting for the Lib Dems to protect it for a free tuition. And that is a direct cause and effect. That is a direct chain of absolute bullshit that happened through the 2010s. Alright, that's got nothing to do with Guild Wars or Guild Wars Reforged. I just want to say... Yeah, and so look, when I do a vote, when I put it up to the public, I'm not putting it up to 50-50, alright? I'm going at least 60-40. Didn't he resign? Yeah, he resigned. Which was the right thing to do, by the way, and I don't blame him for resigning. David Cameron had campaigned on being in the EU, and now and then the electorate said we don't want to be in the EU. He's not the man for the job anymore. That to me isn't actually leaving in shame. That's just common sense. What he gambled on one referendum and it all worked out, and then he tried it on another and it didn't. Anyway, so but I didn't actually know that direct cause and effect. I didn't know. You're probably going to look at me and say, WP, you should have known that. Maybe I should have, but look, I was in my teens and my early 20s. I didn't pay that close of attention. Obviously, I knew about the votes and things happening, but the actual direct chain there, I didn't know. Every fucking decision just goes the wrong way on that. All right, sorry. We have more important things to talk about. Sorry. Here we go. Let's get back here. Old school mode. Nostalgia mode. There you go. And then they have inventory management upgrades. You can identify all unidentified items with a single button press. That again was a toolbox feature. Happy to see it be integrated into vanilla now. And obviously it's a Guild Wars 2 feature. Now, I'm curious about this. Whether it like flickers the inventory UI, because it flickered a lot in the toolbox implementation. And also deposit all to material storage. Again, Guild Wars 2 thing, toolbox thing, and they've added it to Reforged. Brilliant. Great QOL. I'm not going to be singing and dancing about them, but good stuff. The pets from Extra Life. Remember, guys, they did Extra Life, and there were these pets getting added to Guild Wars 1. They hadn't even announced Reforged to the public at that point. Well, now you can see why, because they knew they were about to start putting all this stuff in. So here's all the new pets. You had to donate $100 to Extra Life. And the devs, by the way, after you've watched this video, go check out their stream. It was a brilliant stream. They all got together, you know, a lot of old faces, going through pictures of the old times. I always feel really bitter about those streams sometimes. Well, I always feel a bit weird. Not really bitter. Because it's like, you know, like, it's like a life. These guys, we're on the outside. We just play the game and talk about it on videos. But these guys are actually fucking making it. And they got all these cool memories. And, you know, they're building all these bonds and shit. Anyway, there you go. So, it was a cool trip down memory lane that they did on a stream on that. Next, what have we got? Balance adjustment. Oh, yeah. And Izzy keeps doing these little meme tweaks to Smiter's Boon in reference to the, obviously, controversial nerf back in the day. Hotfix, you can now only recruit Devonna in Lion's Arch if you're reforged. Oh, could you do it in both? Could you get her twice? NPC placement adjustments were made outside of Pycon's north exit. Interesting. I don't know how does that work in pre? I'm really excited to go in there and see that. Pre-searing dungeon drop rarities adjusted. Oh, right. Gold items are dropping. Okay, that last one is a big topic. Reddit was abuzz with this final thing here. When they added the new dungeon to pre, it was dropping golds that had a bunch of mods and things and were just crazy strong items that were never in the pre-searing ecosystem. And so people were farming them, and then Arenanet removed the drops, but people stayed logged in where they hadn't patched or something, and so they could still get the drops, which is weird because I would have thought that would be a server-side thing, not a client-side thing. And people were apparently just farming and hoarding them. And last I heard, 2 weeks said they were going to remove the golds from people's inventories, but they needed to figure out ways to do that and to do it safely. And it's all, you know, this is kind of the work that they're doing now, right? This is what it means to support the game. So, I have also, just to be completely candid, I have read people bitching about the new dungeon on Reddit. What a surprise. People bitching. But we'll see whether they're justified. On the second, fixed dungeon scaling. Yeah, the dungeon scales, I think. Or we'll see when we get there. If anyone isn't in Reforged, you can't get the key to go deeper. Which is weird. That suggests you can get into Reforged content, even not Reforged. It's just only the first floor. Can you get to Pycon? As a non-Reforged person? A classic person? Dungeon spawns were tweaked. On the 7th of last month. The dungeon chest rewards were scaling poorly, and they fixed that. They updated the Ascalon Warhorn guards so that their levels were different. I don't know why they did that. Closed the gates to prevent unintended chest farming. Fixed Devonna's hammer, which didn't actually have any stats. I think when Devonna first got added, she was very broken and she was missing a lot of details. On the 8th... Look, see, what I'm trying to give you a picture of here, guys, is Guild Wars 1 is actually being properly developed for here. Look at the fucking regularity of these patches. Prophecy's loot drops as pre-searing dungeon chests have been disabled. They would sometimes drop with extra mods. In future updates, they'll be removed. On the 22nd, it was the 20th year anniversary, and we get a Shakespeare quote from Romeo and Juliet. What is in a name, that which we call a rose, by any other word, would smell as sweet. I, like all British children, was forced to endure, with no context for the world, Shakespeare in like literature classes when I was younger, and I like I would hazard most, especially working class kids, didn't give a fuck about it. But you guys know how in recent LPs I've talked about how I'm way more into history now that I'm older and I've got more context for the world. I genuinely kind of want to take a lit class just to see what the deal is with Shakespeare. Like, to actually get it, to actually get the sex jokes, to get why it was funny, to get why it was so big in pop culture, to get why it was better than its contemporaries, to get why it was, you know, so good in the years since. Like, I want to actually understand it. As a kid, I did not give a fuck, and I definitely didn't give a fuck about translating the language and, like, muddying my way through it. But my whole adult life, all I've ever seen is smart people saying it's genuinely brilliant, right? People saying it's actually genuinely really good. And the more you read it, the more like little tricks and Easter eggs and amazing things there are in it. It's kind of like I was ranting about Edgar Wright and Hot Fuzz the other day, right? You know, if you can enjoy that kind of shit about modern media, why not about plays? I just remember it being in school, being forced to watch various adaptations of it and stuff, and I just didn't care. But I know a bit more about the kings and, you know, what was going on and what it means in the 1500s now. That was Shakespeare, right? The 1500s? So I don't know. I feel like maybe I could get it a bit more. Of Mice and Men you hated at the start, but you liked at the end. I think I saw the movie of that. Do it. It's totally worth it. Yeah, see, no one ever says it's bad. You always just see tweets of people saying, you know, the annoying thing about Shakespeare is you want to hate Shakespeare, but you realise actually it's really, really good. Like, I want to learn why. So I don't know. Who am I kidding? I'm just going to play Guild Wars. With today's build, we have relaxed the rule that all English names... Oh, I logged in for this one. With today's build, so yeah, a couple of weeks ago, guys, I logged in to Guild Wars 1. We have relaxed the rule that all English language names must be 2 words or more. New characters can use single word names, and existing characters can use a name change to select a new one. So, Guild Wars 1, you were forced to have names that had both a first and surname or a middle name. It had to be 2. So, if I log out here, go to character select. I have the Woodland Seeker. He's my Eldoa character, right? I have the Blood of Elona. I have the Flesh of Tyria. I have Wooden Potatoes, for what it's worth, but that was only a few years ago. My assassin was the Eyes of Cantha, right? These are all 2-word... My mercenary here is Crystal Twister. They're all 2-word names. And what happened was, if you played this game and you got the Hall of Monuments, you could connect to... Here we go. Let me turn this off. Thank you. Wiki on screen. What happened when Guild Wars 2 came out is you could connect it to the sequel game, and that reserved the name. So I have the Eyes of Cantha reserved in Guild Wars 2 because my accounts are connected. But Guild Wars 2 did something new as well. Guild Wars 2 let you have 1-word names. So it was kind of... If you were a Guild Wars fanatic like I was, it was kind of immaterial that they let you reserve these names. Fuck these names. I'm there day 1, August 25th, 3-day head start. I'm there at the beginning. I don't want any of these chump names. I want a 1-word name. I want a name with just very few letters. I want a name like God or Death. Those are very common MMO names, right? So there was a mad rush to get 1-word names, yeah? So my original main in Guild Wars 2 is my Mesmer again, who has the same name as my GW11, but I landed on my Ellie, who had a different name. My Ellie was called Lys, L-Y-S, 1 word. And 1-word names are the best. So Kerry, she has Key. But for all these years in the meantime, GW1... So there's a difference between the 2 games. In the sequel, you could have 1 word. In the original, it had to be multi. There was reservation, but you could only reserve multis. You know, the Let's Play, I had Matt Greenspring, right? Until... What? 3 weeks ago? Bit longer than that? They've relaxed the rule. So, yes, there was a mad rush. There was a crazy, crazy day just a couple of days ago, right here in Guild Wars 1, where everyone was logging on to secure names. And I'm talking all kinds of names. Any single... Like, I think you could have taken God. You could have taken, like... so I grabbed this for Kerry. I got Key. I have the name Key. You could get the name, like, Storage. I picked up Lys. So our character on this Let's Play will probably be called Lys. She won't be an Asura, but I actually have Lys in the OG now. I also picked up another one, which I thought would be good for this playthrough, which is my account name, Baradin. I have Baradin. I just have it on a placeholder Necromancer. But like when I made Baradin here, I guess I'll log in finally. Do you guys finally want to see us actually get into pre? So I have Baradin. Look, that guy there, he's called Tenrock. And I was on the top of this hill just a few weeks ago, and there were players like, what was it? I think I saw a guy called Junlai. I think a guy or his name was Storage or something. But what happened was all these players that have all these alt accounts that they probably hooked fucking bots up and stuff to, everyone was just filling all their accounts, all their spare characters up. And on the Reddit, people were talking about how they had bought like 20 character slots and stuff. Just absolute fanatics. Like, I'm sure Arenanet made a pretty penny on that day because I bought some more character slots as well. I bought a character slot. I gave him a $5, I think, just to get this character for this series. But yeah, so the gold rush is probably over because it's been a few weeks. Sorry if you missed out on that. But hey, if you're watching this on my video and you're thinking to yourself, hey, maybe I'll play it. Because I welcome any of you guys to play along with me. You know, get in there, see what names are available. At the end of the day, yes, a bunch of people went in and greedily stole a ton on 1 billion character slots on their alt accounts. And that sucks. But this is still not the same as a full MMO relaunch. And in fact, when you look at the Steam charts, you can see that the patch a few weeks ago was not as big as the original release of Reforged. There's probably still a ton out there available. Yeah, like that guy's called Necomancer. I'm sure the actual name Necromancer was available. I don't know what limits they put out there. But I was standing here thinking to myself, fuck, man, what else could I pick? You know, any character name you like. You probably could have taken Gwen, right? You probably could have got the name Devonna or whatever. I don't know. Right. So yeah, that was it. That was with the anniversary. As my house and my possessions burned. Final leg now, guys. We're near the end. At the end of April? Oh. Hold on. So then there was April 28th, another major patch, and I'm actually going to manually go to the wiki on this one. On the anniversary, what happened? Another new dungeon with for the Prophecies campaign. Dungeon 2. So some of you guys have been asking me, hey WP, why didn't you do this LP immediately? Yeah, I've had the fire in the recent months, but what about before? It's because I didn't really think there was that much to do. A Melandoom playthrough, fine. It's only now we're really starting to see the stuff come in, right? Unless I wanted to cover it on Steam Deck, which I don't have, or on controller, which I'm not that fascinated by. But now there's 2 dungeons, 2 heroes. The post-searing version, I don't know how these are different. I got no idea. If people in the live chat want to help me out, I'm going to be playing it. I'm going to be having fun. Make sure you've beaten Althea's Ashes, the regular house quest in Reforged. Then you can find her ghost, and there's a whole quest chain. She gets unlocked at the end of the quest chain. They added new minis, but some of the icons aren't good. You can't put them in the Hall of Monuments, and Spanish translation isn't set up. Look at all the stuff that they're having to figure out and work through. Because remember, they're just figuring things out. Is this because they'll eventually build to something like Utopia? Hey, who knows? And then there was another balance patch. Again, a bunch of really interesting, kinda dead skills, all getting updates. This one had the really fascinating well change. Wells have a functionality difference. You can now cast them when there's not even a corpse, which means like the well that you can use to give everyone energy regen is usable even out of combat and between fights and stuff. But you sacrifice 66% of health. But what that also means is enemies are doing that, which is really weird, and I wonder what that feels like to play against. What else was in here? Another Smiter's Boon tweak, just for the funsies. I wonder when they'll stop that. Look at the duration changes here. 10 seconds to 25 on Balthazar's Pendulum. Recurring insecurity got changed quite a lot. And a lot of this is going to PvP. I don't know. Do we have any PvPers in chat? How is this? I mean, is it alive? I'd be really interested to see how the meta has shifted in PvP at the moment and what the balance feedback is like. The thing is, right, you could click onto any of these pages, go to the discussion page and see what people are saying on the wiki about these specific changes. Mystic Twister, this skill here, by the way, won the prize as best skill icon in the game for me on my video. There were some really good ones on this. I was like, holy shit, that looks fun to play with. And think about it, you'll be collecting these in Melandu now as well. So, like, these will help you make it on your Melandoom character. Oh, yeah, Angelic Bond. They reduced the recharge time by half. This was always my favorite Paragon Elite that I never really got to play with when I made my Paragon back in the day. There were some trap updates, the recharges for traps. Revive Animal. Look at this. Reduced activation from 6 seconds, which I think is the longest in the game, by the way. That's not like, you know, a PvE thing where it's building something for 20 seconds or whatever. Reduced reactivation from 6 seconds to a quarter of a second. And reduced the recharge from 20 to 5. This is an AoE pet res. You can tech this on, and you can revive all pets to nearly 100% health. Petway was a fun build, and that is something new for Petway. Look at that buff! That's sick! They should have renamed it to Revive Animals, to be honest. And you might say, well, do they do that? Yeah, they do. Look, Help Me changed to just Help and can now target allies. Oh, Baltec should become a hero? Banjo says in chat, maybe. It's crazy, guys. There was a really good change here among the ritualists. Oh, maybe it wasn't this patch. One of them had like one of the healing spirits that would randomly heal someone. It now... Oh, no. That'll be in a minute. That'll be in a minute. So look, just a shit ton of cool fucking changes. And I'm sorry that I'm not being more dedicated about it. If all this stuff had happened 13 months ago when I was hardcore into Guild Wars, I was grinding it, I was playing a lot, you would have seen dedicated like Balance with Boots videos or Balance with Boots style videos where I would have gone through all of these, every single one. We would have had dedicated productions. So, but instead you're getting all crammed in here and it's incoherent and it sucks, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And Wiki had look, a bunch of other things they didn't even mention. Oh yeah, in the thief section they said they had updated this from a spell to a trick, but tricks aren't a skill category in Guild Wars 1. It became just a skill. Oh yeah, Tainted Flesh was a cool update. Affects all allies in the area now. The well thing was really weird, by the way. In some ways, it hasn't been a buff. It's been kind of fiddly. I've been reading what people have been saying about on Reddit. I haven't played with any of it yet. But yeah, holy shit. So there you go. That 2 big balance patches have happened. Back to the slideshow. So at the end of the month, Althea's armor became hero caster armor because she had all the pips of regen and stuff, but she was effectively a warrior, which made her the strongest hero in the game, I think. She was a Mesmer with warrior armor, which is crazy. They added the actual dungeon entrance icon on the map. Now that's interesting to me. Let's see here then. Let's log in on... Here we go, we're on Peter Redhill. Good times, right everybody? Is there going to be a dungeon icon somewhere around here? Is there a quest for Peter to do? Oh, he would have to toggle into Reforged mode though, right? So if I go to LA... Oh, and the skill bar... It's a trick, get an axe? What? Weren't you considering making Steam guides at some point? I was, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I was collecting those shields and things. That is what I was very well remembered. Right, so I toggle into Reforged. The last couple of slides here, guys, are going to be about Reforged, which they've announced a bit of a change with as of like this week. So hang in there. We're right at the end of the preamble. So Ivor True Shot as a quest. Cortis as a... the thing is, I never did all the side quests. I don't know. Maybe we can... Oh, that might explain why all these Reforged people are here. Because it's a post-searing dungeon, right? And Althea's not a ghost until post-searing, so... Well, we'll just learn that. That's what we'll learn in these episodes of the LP. Next. On the 5th of May, some more tweaks to skills. Nice, regular. Doesn't this just get you the vibe of exactly how it was before everything changed? Tainted Flesh affects all allies. And that was what was cool about it. Really easy to maintain. Inside the tunnel, the thing is, Tainted Flesh really only interacts with disease, so it'd best have some high quality of life, because it is an elite skill after all. Inside the Tunnels of the Forsaken, which is the new dungeon. 2 new dungeons to play. Moved use of enemy elite skills to hard mode, to use elite skills only in hard mode. They adjusted the drops of the ghost, the scaling, the odds of rare drops. Permanently opened Maz gates. I don't know what is a Maz gate? Moved elite skills to hard mode for basic enemies. Removed double elite spirit from the fractured spirit. No idea what any of that is. Okay, and then they had a skill AI patch where they're not actually doing balance, but they're changing the way that the AI uses skills. Now, this is very sophisticated, and this fills me with a lot of joy, because there are a lot of really brilliant skills there, but you just can't run them on heroes, because the hero, like, is an anti-caster skill, but they only ever cast it on melee. Or it's an anti-melee skill that they only cast in the casters. Or it's a heal skill, but they only cast it when you're at full health. Or it's an energy skill, but they don't cast it until your energy's entirely gone. Shit like that, right? There's AI tweaks that need to happen. Now, God bless the Guild Wars 1 fanatics on the wiki, because they've listed all of those AI quirks and incongruences over the years. All it takes is for 2 weeks to look at skills on the wiki to see what's fucked and broken. And they could start working on that stuff. And they're really meaningful changes that not only mean your heroes play the game better, but enemies do too. Soul Leech is a perfect example there. Prioritizes targeting casters now. Also high health and skips low health targets. Brilliant. So yeah, there were just a lot of weird AI bugs and quirks. And look, then the guys at the studio now, we're not just dealing with SCW on his own. We're dealing with people that are getting more and more sophisticated about the tools and learning how to make a lot of changes. They're now not just confident enough to put in balance patches, but they're tweaking the way the AI use the skills too. Which is great. I hope they can fucking pay these people. I really do. I hope they can pay them and they get lots to do. Because I'm telling you, the community will stay. As long as people understand how cool this shit is. Which is sort of where I come in, I think, a bit. And that's what I'm trying to show you guys. So then there's that. Then there's mobile. So they're doing a rollout on mobile now. That's now the mobile login. Mobile soft launch. Look at that, guys. This is from May 19th. This was like last week. Or very recently. We're now dealing with the mobile soft launch. Mobile soft launches are typically done by releasing the game in a few territories where developers can ensure the expanded platforms and various devices work before releasing the game worldwide. Today, we've released the mobile build on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store in Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines, and Canada. There you go, it is on the App Store. I wonder if they get a bigger cut from the Google Play Store than the App Store. Players in other regions can pre-register. So if you play Guild Wars 1 on mobile, guys, it's free. So if you've been watching this at any point and you're thinking, yeah, but I don't own it, it's free and it's on your mobile now and there's a totally different UI. But you get ads. That's the thing. And I think Arenanet were a bit nervous about the ads, but I think that's pretty much how it goes for mobile games. And there's not been a backlash about that. And I think rightly so. There hasn't been one. I'm very curious about connectivity with it because this game, if you DC... You know, a mission might take like 40 minutes. You can't do that on a train. where your mobile internet might tap out for a second. So I don't know what they've done with that. But the UI, right, the way it works is you see where Liz is in the background there? It's like the skill bar is like you get 4 skills here, weapon swap in the very corner, and 4 skills up here. And so your thumb is where Liz is. Your thumb hangs around in that corner and can easily go from the bottom left where these skills are and up here for these skills. And it looks very workable. And over here is like an analog stick to move around. I don't know how you control the camera. I guess just by tapping anywhere on the screen? I don't know. But yeah, and so look, I can see... Here's my big thing with Guild Wars 1 right now. I don't know whether 2 weeks are only here for as long as they can keep monetizing it on new platforms. And as soon as that runs out, they'll be gone again. I don't know. Because they have to justify the paycheck. Obviously, they have to. And I might be wrong about this, but, you know, Guild Wars doesn't charge a sub fee. And we're not the biggest community on the scene. I'm always concerned. And you know, look at what happened in Guild Wars 2 after Season 4. And stuff like that. You know, it just feels like we're always on the back foot, and it feels like it's a scary industry, and it feels like... Yeah, and, you know, look at other things like Destiny and, you know, other live service games that are struggling. I just get nervous, you know. But let's be confident that they can stick it out. And look, if Arenanet wants to do like a fucking little Guild Wars 1 VIP service or something... where people pay, you know, like £2 a month or something. If that pays for, you know, the likes of Lindsay Murdoch to come back or whatever, fuck it, let's do it. That's what I say. So yeah, the free game includes the Prophecies campaign with some restrictions. Chat, player-to-player trading, the ability to invite others to a party won't be available because people will otherwise bot and it will get swarmed, right? They get removed if you just buy the upgrade. So yeah, try it out on the App Store. I don't know, guys. Give it a shot. I think it's only Canadians that can play it right now. Oh, I can toggle the mobile in-game UI right now. People are saying in chat. Can I? I wish my voice wasn't so high-pitched. I can trigger it right now, can I? No wonder my fucking voice... My voice is so sore. What? Interface. I would assume it's under interface. No. General. Show legacy enter... Oh, use mobile interface beta. Oh, that's cool. Oh, interesting. I mean, I don't need this because I'm using mouse and keyboard. It's a bit funky. Wow. Well, there you go. You can see it for yourself. See? I do love the double skill bar thing. We can't manipulate it. Wow, look, see, look, they've clearly done a lot of UI work here. But we can't customize it anymore, right? It's this or nothing. Is that right? Normal mode, hard mode, toggle is there. I love the idea of having a phone screen that's quite this big. Look at the party UI for professions. Oh yeah, the professional icons are on the party UI. That's true. You can see me, I'm a warrior. That's like in Guild Wars 2. I wonder if they'll bring that back for the base UI as well. Alright, guys, this is literally... We're caught up now. This is like last week this got added. Let's toggle it off. Damn, I didn't need to reboot or anything. Oh, open inventory? You think inventory's interesting? Ha-ha! I love that. I love being able to have a big inventory, so the rendered preview of your character is nice and big as well. That's actually really cool. People would love that for the base UI. They would love that. All of a sudden, the item icons look too small. Do you think they'll get the skill icon treatment? I doubt it. I like that. The hover over, though. So when I'm on a mobile, when I'm hovering over this outline... Yeah, the UI, the inventory is totally different, eh? I think this goes to show that you're not going to see much bigger bags ever. They'll possibly fit... Well, they could have a scroll bar. By the way, that's the F9. Both inventories are the same. Hey, here's the hero thing as well. There's our attributes. What other panels are there? Missions? Observe? Oh my god, that's chat. Party search. Observe. Oh, that's still vanilla, it seems. Inventory bags is the same. Yeah, not bad. Help is still the same. Speaking of help, by the way, believe it or not, that's a very weird quinky dink. Because speaking of help... well, no, here you go. So just more about mobile. Known issues downloading the game. You might have some little things. There's a memory issue on iOS. Oceania players, blah, blah, blah. Well, actually, what does it say there about connectivity? For the initial launch, players in the soft launch territories will be on American servers. We're working on a more robust system later. For Oceanic players, pick Korean. So any Aussies watching me out there, any Kiwis out there, go to the Korean data center. Generally, the game is fairly latency friendly for PvE play. We've tested from where we are in Washington to Korean servers. Our alpha testers have had varying success using a VPN as well. If you have trouble connecting, just try disabling it. Guild Wars is on port 6112. Not all text is localized. The mobile version of the game uses a totally new renderer. Wow. So how does it look? We've been able to run it on a wide range of devices, including many Windows graphics cards with good success. Some maps are using special rendering techniques. We'd love to hear reports, possibly screenshots of any rendering errors you encounter. Look at this. Just as with the Steam Deck, we've added a new UI. We're very interested in how easy it is to figure out, so at least initially we're not going to post a lot of documentation. The game is meant to be played in landscape mode. It should force that, and it will use a virtual joystick. You can tap through most of the UI. The game renders well on an iPhone SE from 2020. It renders well on Samsung A50s, released back in 2019. Since I have a Pixel 9a, by the way, so I think my phone would run it well. I really do. And I could hook that up for a stream, couldn't I? The easiest way to check compatibility... I love the idea of doing a mobile-only nostalgia mode. Malandoom. Where to post comments. The discussion page on the wiki is very good. Or the subreddit. And I don't actually know what they've said about that on the subreddit. They had a couple of updates about data centers, account linking, mobile stuff. Pause if you want. The soft launch continued. Just the other. That's on the 27th, guys. Today is the 31st. We're right at the end of May now. They just opened it to the options menu. And finally, a Reforged mode. This was the patch the other day. Reforged mode is coming out of alpha and into beta. Reforged mode will be on by default 4 new characters. There's a new Reforged only getting started in Guild Wars quest that has just been added, available from the town crier at the beginning of Prophecies. This quest is designed to guide new players through pre-searing and give them some tips on getting the most out of the pre-searing experience. There's a new Reforged only surviving after the searing quest that players can get from War Master Titus, aka Sir Titus in pre-searing, that rewards players with a book that helps explain some of the core mechanics of Guild Wars, and it provides additional resources and rewards to help new players get started. So look at this. They've clearly seen the new player experience's deficiencies back when they launched at Christmas, and they're adding new shit. A connector quest that will take you from Ambassador Zane that goes back to Titus so that you never get lost on the main story. You can still opt out of Reforged mode during character creation, and you can toggle it during the shrines, which we've been seeing. So what is the idea of Reforged mode now, right? We get the Doom thing, we get the Melandry thing, we like the idea of the Glissa thing and all that shit, but what is this, okay? We have changed our previously communicated plan. for bringing Reforged mode out of beta. Here is the new plan. When Reforged mode comes out of beta, we will remove the Reforged badge from the game. We will introduce a new veteran mode. The veteran mode will preserve the classic tuning changes and content. This will be the same as playing without Reforged mode today. So the idea, guys, is by default, you'll be playing with the fancy, shiny new things. But if you want the classic, untampered experience, that is veteran mode. So this red icon that I've been showing you in the background, it's actually not going to be a thing. They're going to get rid of it. There's not going to be a red Reforged badge. It's not going to be the whole population with just this weird UI bloat. It's just going to be Guild Wars. But if you want to play like a more purist old Guild Wars, where there's not a new dungeon and there's not some new heroes and some new quests, you toggle into that and you'll be veteran mode. And it says this has nothing to do with titles. There aren't any special rewards. Veteran mode exists solely to preserve the pre-Reforged experience, which is great. And that's the right way to do it, in my opinion. We originally planned to mark titles with the mode that they were earned under because we anticipated Reforged mode could introduce tuning changes that might make certain titles significantly easier. In practice, we found ways to make the pacing and content changes without significantly impacting the level of effort required to get titles, unlike Doom's Covenant and Melange's Accord. And also, they don't mention it in the notes here, but their balance changes fly in the face of all of this anyway, because they'll affect the whole game for everyone anyway. Our previous plan to mark titles based on Reforged mode usage has unfortunately discouraged veteran players from even checking out the content. So yeah. So a little philosophy change there. So while in the start of this LP, I'm going to be doing it with a red badge and stuff, when all is said and done, it's just going to be the new updates. And here's some more AI adjustments while they're at it. Preservation, there you go. That's the writ spirit that was sucked at picking targets. And now it will actually pick low health targets. And I read on Reddit some people were testing how fun it is to use now. And apparently it is a lot more usable. 10 Eyes Crystals, AI was using it as point blank AI. They were using it at any range. Or they will use it at any range now. Spirit Leech, Soul Leech won't waste its time on spirits. Energizing Finale will be used on people at high energy. Arcane Conundrum will be cast on casters with healers as a priority. Look at this shit. Look at how good this is. Dark Aura, that's the one that does packets of damage every time a sacrifice is used. That actually looks if your heroes or enemies have sacrifice skills. And it will target those. It will use it out of combat to make sure you're ready, which means that like the new Soul Taker Scythe and stuff is way more easy to use. You don't have to micro it. Splinter Weapon won't get wasted on spirits. Prioritizes your party before allies. I mean, that's a pretty good big meta buff, frankly. That kind of shit. There are so many things like that Arenanet can do, that 2 weeks can do, and they are. And some change in the dungeon that I don't understand. Change the highlight color in this guidebook we're about to look at. Updated netcode to fix mobile download problems over cell. And that's it. Oh my god. Remember how it all started 3 hours ago? It's now 20 past midnight. Experience it like never before. Steam Deck verified. Mobile phone verified. No monthly subscription. Skill balance. 2 new dungeons. 2 new heroes. New player experience. Guild Wars Reforged. The last day dawns on the kingdom of Ascalon. My throat is sore. Guys, that was an 82 slide presentation. If I had done my job the past 6 months, you would have seen regular videos. Oh, I shouldn't even laugh. It's so... I'm sorry. I didn't burn my house down. It wasn't me. Oh. Right. We're going to call this part 0. Join me next time. We're going to make a new character. We're actually going to play the game, okay? And we'll get Devonna as a hero. We'll see the new dungeon. We'll see Pike and Square. We'll see the quests. We'll explore the update. Once I've seen all the new content, I think we're going to angle for a Milan Doom run. That's what I think we're going to do. We could have it all set up at once, maybe. Oh, thank you for people who have been there in live chat through that. I hope that was entertaining. I wouldn't watch this. I wouldn't watch this content. But I'm making it. Oh, all right. Well, anyway, look, I had no choice, all right? We were caught behind. And I wouldn't have felt good if we hadn't talked about it all. What is the plan if I die? To keep going with the new attempts until we're all bored, until there's literally no viewers left and no donations. I mean, we didn't get any donations here today through all that, so already I'm a little bit nervous. That we might not want to do too long of a series. But we'll see. If people are saying, you know, this has run its course. But I want to see how far I can get. I want to beat the Ring of Fire. I don't know, Hell's Precipice. So listen, guys, before the next episode, give me your thoughts and feelings on what class we should pick for our Milan Doom character. I mean, that's pretty interesting. We'll have Althea with us. We'll have Devonna with us. What if I die in the new dungeons even? But that's what I want to do. I want to do a Reforged Milan Doom. And I don't want to get Guam. But I'd love to beat Hell's Precipice. Do you think it's doable? Guild Wars 1 Prophecies is pretty hard early on. We'll have new skill balance and stuff to look at. They still haven't fixed the Tainted Gwen bug. What is the Tainted Gwen bug? Before you party with your DCMA, Doom's Covenant Melange's God. Yeah, also, so if you guys all start the game with me tomorrow, I'm doing episode 1 tomorrow, by the way. If you all join me, can we party together? That would be amazing. That would be really fun, wouldn't it? Can we have a party of 4? Melange's Accord, Doom Melange Accord people. And I would suggest we get a bunch of people, and then just, you know, if someone's not there, someone else can tap in. And then when one of us dies, they have to leave the party, basically, right? I think Ranger would be cool. I think Ranger gives you a lot of options for, like, different damage types. And you get, like, the pet, which is kind of another body on the field. Emily says, I essentially did a Melandru Doom Eldoa no sequence break Mesmer run a couple of years ago. You had only a few tight spots. I don't think I'm going to add Legendary Defender of Ascalon. I think I'm just going to do Melandru Doom Reforged. I don't want to sit there grinding in Eldoa. Sorry. Not interested. And because I don't intend to eventually take... And the character name will be Baradin. And because I don't eventually intend to take Baradin all the way through to... Guam. I don't need to get Elder. It's weird though. Baradin would kind of be a cool idea for a perma pre-seer character, since Baradin is in pre-seering. I think he's in post as well, but he's a bigger deal. I got Liz, well as Ilya. Well, the other one is Issa. I didn't pick any. I didn't have enough character slots. They might be available. Try and take them. Okay. Thank you for watching, guys. Oh, we got a donation. Oh, look at that. Shibarito, $20, dude. Thank you. Go Ranger or not bias at all. Glad to have you back. Okay, look, I think I'm going to do Ranger. Someone just paid $20 for Ranger. I think I'm going to do Ranger. I really wanted to do it as well. But then, on the other hand, Warrior feels like the exact kind of high-risk adrenaline, oh shit sort of thing. But yeah, we'll see. Guys, I'm streaming tomorrow. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel. I do premieres so you can see what's going on. If you want better notifications, check out the Spud Discord. It's in the description. If you want to support my project or anything like that, if you like the look of this, I also have Patreon down there. Please do feel free to consider it. Or just come along, drop a membership or a donation or whatever as we go, and we'll just see how it feels. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, you can coerce me with money. What I'll do, guys, throughout the playthrough is if anyone gives a dono, they can choose what skills I run and destroy my build so that my character dies and I never make it. I'll do anything for the almighty dollar. I can't do warrior because Peter Redhill was already a warrior run. Yeah, that's true. Not only that, but I actually did pure melee for all my Let's Play characters. Tom was melee and Matt was melee. They were all, it was Dervish, Assassin, and Warrior. And I specifically picked melee because, look, I love Guild Wars 1, but I see it for what it is. And the truth is that when you're in the backline the whole time, just spamming spells especially, it's not that interesting. It's much more interesting visually to play a frontliner. So I did that for the sake of the entertainment of the series. But, you know, maybe it's time to do a backliner. I'd be fine with that. And a Ranger still has interesting things. I think, in my opinion, Ranger has the widest variety of experiences in it. It has lots of different types of bows. It has preparations. It has traps. It has nature rituals. And because of expertise, you can flex into a frontliner if you want as well. Obviously, they're all fairly flexible with multiple professions, but Ranger really is very jack of all trades in this game in terms of just diversity of experience. So. And hey, the spirits all cast quicker. They have bigger range and stuff now, so they might even be fun to use. They might even be useful. Oh my god, oh, thank you. Disc Right says Necro is the way to go. Oh shit, that's also $20. And Ragris with the €10. Thank you, Ragris. Ragrince, sorry, I said your name wrong. Uh-oh. Well, now it's a battle. Maybe what we can do is flip a coin if it's between Ranger and Necro. Guys, look, give me your dissertations as well between the episodes. If you have attempted this challenge, let me know in the comments what you attempted it on and how hard it was, how hard you thought it was. Because there is a lot to consider. We're going to have to really be careful about, like, the henchmen. Because there's not skill bar previews, but I think in Toolbox you can get previews for their skill bars. And some henchmen are way worse than others. And, like, who fills it out best? I don't know. See, that's the kind of shit you could write Steam guides on. Thanks, guys. Oh my god, Ragrince again with another €10. Thank you, dudes. I didn't mean to shamelessly, like, squeeze cash out of you guys there. We really are done for the day. Go, Warrior. Look. Drop me your comments. Let me know in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Join me for next time, part 1. Guild Wars Reforged is finally happening. See you soon.